the tennis, which is the verb to hold in French. And people use some pretty wacky material to make the balls with. Cork, wool, chalk, animal fur, and even human hair. A few centuries on, Germany got dead into the tennis too, but wanted to make a few modifications to the ball to make it a bit more effective. Around this time, an American chemist had just created something called vulcanized rubber. Out of that, people started developing air-filled rubber balls, which were properly bouncy, but either red or grey in colour. These were manufactured in Melton Mowbray. That's right, the home of the pork pie. One problem, the balls kept on breaking on impacts with the racket. The call of new balls please seemingly coming over every other point. Step forward English lawyer and tennis enthusiast John Moyer Heathcote, who suggested balls be covered in flannel to stop them from degrading. And thus the modern-day tennis ball was born. But these were white or black, so how did they become yellow? Well, in 1967, the controller of BBC Two, one Sir David Attenborough, decided the corporation should show Wimbledon on colour TV. He got his wish and it was wide into people's homes across the country. The only sticking point, the white balls were nearly impossible to see on the screen. So the International Tennis Federation, sensing an opportunity, started developing a new ball that would be visible even without the need for 4K LED displays. Not that anyone had that in the late 60s. After rigorous testing, they came up with the colour Optic Yellow and decided every ball be coated in that colour from there on in. And there you have it. Tennis balls are yellow, all because Sir David Attenborough wanted to watch Wimbledon from the comfort of his own front room. You could say the ITF aced it.
Minutes after 6 o'clock, good morning, talkSPORT breakfast, Friday morning, Ray Parlour alongside me. Now, after yesterday, what a terrible, terrible day yesterday. We had to start with the tragic news of Liverpool's Diego Jota sadly passing away at the age of just 28. The tributes, well, they came flooding in on talkSPORT yesterday.
And Diogo Jota puts them in front. It's the first goal of the Slot era.
Heartbreaking. I was shocked, like all of us.
You do become attached to players. You do feel like, you know, they're part of you.
Everyone knows what it's like to lose someone. It feels like we've lost one of our own.
These players mean something to people, and they become icons. And to see his life cut so short is just horrible.
One of the reasons why Liverpool wanted to bring him from Wolves, because they knew he was a good character.
Surely now Wolverhampton Wanderers are going through to the semi-final. A counter-attacking goal from Diego Jota.
Without a doubt, that's my greatest memory, and he was the one who gave me that memory. So
he was one of the
greatest players that I've seen play for Wolves.
I had the pleasure a few times being around the training ground, talking to him, listening about his career, how he was, and he's just really, really humble. The Wolves fans loved him.
Someone I had the opportunity of meeting twice, so kind, had time for everyone. He was a really good human being.
The public, of the Prime Minister, everybody in Portugal is really, really shocked and devastated for what had happened.
His song was one of the ones that was sung the loudest and the longest every week on the cop.
You know, there'll come a time when Liverpool return to Anfield and the fans sing You'll Never Walk Alone, and they will sing it for him.
He was our number 20, and we won our 20th league title this year. And it's been mentioned, but I implore the club to retire that shirt now. I think it'd be the right thing to do. And I'm sure the club will do it.
You'll never walk alone. You're always in our hearts. Never forget you. Never forget.
Yes, an incredible sad day in the world of football. Former Liverpool midfielder Danny Murphy was very emotional joining talkSPORT yesterday.
Heartbreaking. I was shocked, like all of us. We all love football, Jim, don't we? We all have a passion for it, whether winning, losing, who our team should sign. All seems to become a bit irrelevant. It puts things in perspective when you hear news like this. It's just absolutely heartbreaking for everybody concerned.
Diego Jota's first club in England was Wolves, and the former goalkeeper Matt Murray revealed just how down-to-earth Jota was.
The team that knew no Bill, a big thing he wanted from that team was to stay humble. And this is a guy that came to Wolves from Atletico Madrid. He'd gone from Champions League football to the Championship. And it was when the Mendes era just started. And it was like, how have we got this guy? And I can just remember him, how he carried the ball. And I'm sure Stuart and Martin will say that he wasn't the biggest of guys, but he was strong. He was so good in the air, and he never gave defenders a rest, the way he carried the ball. So he was really hard for defenders to play against. He was brilliant in Championship, then transitioned into the Premier League, then was sold to a big profit. But, as I say, the way he came over, he just, he's got all these people screaming for him, and he came and he took that time. And that's what I think people give modern-day footballers. They say, they're not in touch with the fans. He really was.
Matt Murray there, someone who has dealt with something similar before, is Stuart Pearce, who was part of the coaching staff at Man City when their midfielder Marc-Vivien Foé passed away in the year 2003, and Stuart revealed the impact it has on a dressing room.
Marc-Vivien Foé was one of our players and lost his life on a football pitch, and the impact that had around the football club, in the dressing room, with teammates, is just immense, and Liverpool have probably had one of the biggest highs that they've had winning the Premier League this summer. And then obviously the traffic incident at the celebrations, followed by this as well. The highs and lows of life, if you like, are there for all to see in many ways. And listen, I never knew Diogo. I've never met him before, but the impact it sort of had for everybody, the state of shock, is quite incredible.
I agree. After the show yesterday, Ray, I was talking to people. Yeah. They were gobsmacked. They were absolutely shaking their head in dismay.
Well, we've got a golf group chat, and one of the guys put it up there, and I didn't know, and suddenly I went, what? And then you're looking more into it, the news, and absolutely heartbreaking. It's a sad day. I mean, I was sitting in my back garden just thinking about, what's just happened. Yeah. With all his family. There's some lovely pictures of him just getting married with his 3 kids. And, you've got to look at the deeper picture, then those kids and whatever. His daddy coming home and all that sort of stuff. So, absolutely heartbroken. And, being in the dressing room area, I mean, there'd be certain players a lot closer than others in that dressing room area, and they'll have to be looked after because they've lost a good friend. I know he's their work colleague, but you see the players more than your family usually. So you come really close to certain players, and I don't know who was the closest to him in that dressing room, but they must be absolutely devastated as well.
Let's not forget his brother as well.
His brother as well, yeah, 25 years old, and his mother and father. I've just lost 2 sons. So it's a terrible day for football, and it's nice to see the tributes coming in from every single club because it is a big family football, And when tragedies do happen like this, people come together. And I was driving in this morning, and I could hear all the tributes from all different sort of fans, sets of fans, and it took a long time to get over this, because he was such a big player, and Matt Murray summed it up there. He was a great human being, very humble, had time for everybody, which is so important. You don't think you're too big for other people, and he come across like that. So absolutely devastating news.
Tributes have been pouring in from all over the world. Liverpool manager Arne Slot, a huge admirer of Jota, released a statement. Here's Drive host Andy Goldstein reading it for talkSPORT.
He says, "What to say? What can anyone say at a time like this, when the shock and the pain is so incredibly raw? I wish I had the words, but I know I do not. All I have are feelings that I know so many people will share about a person and a player we love dearly, and a family we care so much about. My first thoughts are not those of a football manager. They are of a father, a son, a brother and an uncle, and they belong to the family of Diogo and Andre Silva, who have experienced such an unimaginable loss." In Slot's statement, he goes on to talk about Jota's playing style and his incredible work rate. It continues, "When I first came to the club, one of the first songs I got to know was the one that our fans sing for Diogo. I had not worked with him previously, but I knew straight away that if the Liverpool supporters, who have seen so many great players over the years, had such a unique chant for Diogo, he must have special qualities." Slot finishes off by saying, "My condolences go to Diogo's wife, their 3 beautiful children, and of course the parents of Diogo and Andre Silva. When the time is right, we'll celebrate Diogo Jota. We will remember his goals and we will sing his song. For the time being, we will remember him as a unique human being and mourn his losses. He will never be forgotten. His name is Diogo."
Coming up, we'll continue to reflect this tragic news in the back pages. That's coming next, 12 minutes past 6.
Plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
morning, 6:16. Ray, you're heading out to Portugal, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm going out there tomorrow. Briefly, not for long, but...
No. That's horrible. Anyway, Max Scott is with us. Take a look at the back pages, front and back. I imagine they're filled with tributes to Jota this morning, Max.
Yeah, look, understandably so, and there have been some absolutely stunning tributes coming through. I think the one that really stands out to me is his teammate Andy Robertson, really close friends. I'm just going to read a portion of this. I think that it really speaks to the sort of man he was, not just a player. He says, "I could talk about him as a player for hours, but none of that feels like it matters right now. It's the man, the person. He was such a good guy, the best, so genuine, just normal and real, full of love for the people he cared about, full of fun. He says he was the most British foreign player I've ever met. We used to joke he was really Irish. I tried to claim him as Scottish. Obviously, I even called him Diogo McJota.
Yeah.
The last time I saw him was the happiest day of his life, his wedding day. I want to remember his never-ceasing smile from that magical day, how much he was bursting with love for his wife and his family. I can't believe we're saying goodbye. It's too soon, hurts too much. But thank you for being in my life, mate, and making it better. Love you, Diogo." I mean, stunning tribute, isn't it? And I think the thing that comes through, particularly, I know you mentioned the Arne Slot one, Arne Slot saying, he never sought popularity, but he found it anyway. He seems, Ray, to be that sort of bloke that you'd love in the changing room.
Oh, absolutely. And they're so important as well. He looks like everybody sort of got on with him, and a real character. Never see him really moaning. He didn't start every game, did he? But he always come off the bench and made an impact. Such an important player for them.
He was strong and very good.
Yeah,
he wasn't the tallest.
You could always get a goal. He would always get you a goal out, and I think so. A very, very important player. But we don't know what his personality was like behind the scenes. And Andy Robertson now sums it all up, really. He was one of them sort of guys, always having a bit of fun and enjoying himself. I saw the picture of them at Cheltenham as well. Cheering horses. So he was a really, really good guy and a great person to have in his dressing room. And those players are going to be struggling as well, big time. I mean, Liverpool players there'll be certain other players who are really, really close to him and good friends. Maybe they go out for dinners with wives and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And they're going to be struggling because it was shock to me, and I didn't know Diogo, and it's a situation, if you knew him very well as a character, as a person, it really does hit you hard. It really would.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, Liverpool will be looking after those teammates, but it's not just his Liverpool teammates, it's his compatriots, it's the Portuguese teammates. Cristiano Ronaldo saying it doesn't make sense. I think all of us were thinking that yesterday. 28 years old, newlywed, 3 children. Cristiano says, just now we were together in the national team, just now you'd got married. To your family, your wife, your children, I send my condolences and wish them all the strength in the world. I know you'll always be with them. Rest in peace, Diogo and Andre. We'll all miss you. And Ruben Neves as well, Portugal and former Wolves teammate. And the thing about that I'm so impressed with about Jota's career is he was at Atletico Madrid. He won't get much games. He comes to Wolves in the Championship, gets promoted, and then later on in his career wins the Premier League. I think other than that amazing Leicester team, there aren't many players, particularly at that size, like you say, Ali, put himself about despite that have won the Championship and the Premier League. I mean, speaks volumes. But Ruben Neves says, they say we only lose people when we forget them. I will never forget you. And I think for many of us, who've lost anybody in our lives, one of the very few comforts is that that person does live on in your sort of collective memory, doesn't it? And if there's anything we can take from the sort of confusion and doubt in moments of tragedy like this, it's that there is no doubt that Liverpool Football Club and the entire fan base are going to come together. They've been through tragedies themselves as a club. It's absolutely certain, isn't it, boys? They will honour him in the right way.
Yeah. I think it's stunned the whole of football, not just Liverpool.
Oh, absolutely. As I said before, when I found out yesterday, you see that sad day. Everybody's like, I got to where I got to yesterday, and all the first thing we talked about was Diogo. Oh, what terrible news! And look, this is supporters from all different clubs. You don't have to be Liverpool. It's just that shock news because everybody enjoyed watching him play. He seemed a real good character. He's always smiling, always enjoying himself, and he had a lovely family, and the mother and father, and let's not forget his brother as well.
Player in his own right.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just awful news. It was just you don't want to be waking up to news like that, and I was devastated yesterday and as I said before, I'm not close to him, but just seeing that family picture done me. I mean, I was just got married. He's 3 lovely children. And the children, how are they going to understand what happened to their dad, you know?
Yeah, it's tragic.
It'd be his daddy coming home. It'd be one of them sort of things to his wife. And, you know, it's just awful to just think about it, really.
But Max, what else we got? Some of the headlines. I'll be honest with you, I've just looked at the front and back pages. Most of them is all about Diego, you know, and I think, crikey, but there's some other stories in there as well we should just have a quick look at.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, this one's gone under the radar, rightly so, because of how sort of tragic that news was yesterday. But the big news coming out of Wimbledon, boys. British number 1, Jack Draper.
I watched it.
He's out.
Great. By the way, well, let me say this. Cilic was magnificent.
Yes.
And I mean, listen, Draper give his all. And yes, he can play better, but Cilic taking nothing away from him.
Absolutely not. And, you know, we've got to remember about Cilic. He's won the US Open. He's been a Wimbledon finalist. And, yeah, he might be 36, but he's 82nd in the world. I think he's recently won a tour event. And so while his form had dropped, he'd been sort of coming up the ranks again.
He had a problem with his knee and he got it sorted. I think it was an ongoing problem. It's sorted now, and he'll give anyone a game. Don't worry about that.
I think the interesting thing about this was Draper was in a position he'd never been in before in a major. He was 2 sets down, and yes, he won that third set 6-1 when he was after being 2-0 down. But Cilic, you know, he, as I say, reached the final in 2017. He knows his way around the court and experience in these circumstances.
And at times he out-hit Draper. Power. He was finding that back line so many times with power, brilliant. And when he needed big serves, he got them.
I just wonder around Jack Draper, you know, we've heard on Breakfast this week, Sue Barker came on, legendary tennis commentator, Nick Kyrgios has been on, great value. All of them, rightly so, because Jack Draper's done incredibly well. He got to semi-final at US Open, he's world number 4. But do you think they were all saying, wow, we think he can win this? You know, he's replaced Andy Murray in the limelight. Do you reckon there's a bit too much pressure on him?
I was just about to say, there's a lot more pressure, isn't there?
Oh, there's a lot, but there's without a doubt.
You know, US Open, you can go there and not everybody's no expectation, and you know you do so well, and then suddenly you're at home now. Everybody's like, come on, it'd be great for
It'd be interesting to hear what Nick has to say, but, you know, because he's a pro and he'll. You know, I'd love to get his insight, and we will do, but for my amateur eye, I thought, well done, Cilic, he was fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't see the game, Al, but it sounds like he...
what about cricket? That was very disappointing, wasn't it?
I mean, we've got to give a shout-out to Shubman Gill, India's new captain. He scored, you think, 2 centuries in his first 2 innings as captain. He got 269. England now trailing by 510 runs. I mean...
Can't win there, can they?
Do you know, it's going to be difficult. But Bazball, you know, if there's anything, I think what we need to see from Ben Stokes, he's come back, he's looking really fit, he's been good with the ball, but not so much with the bat. And I think having seen Shubman Gill get 269, I think it's about time, isn't it? Ben Stokes gives us a special 270 with the bat, but it's going to be incredibly difficult. Brooks on 30, Joe Cook's still in there, but 77 for 3 going into the next day. I mean, it's going to be a tough old ask, isn't it?
Yeah, it will be. And anything else?
Well, look, you know, as you say,
we're building up to a big sporting weekend. You know, we're building up to the Lions, we're building up to the Eclipse at Sandown as well, aren't we?
Yeah, well, another big story as well is sort of Owen Farrell being called up by his dad, and you know how bad for Elliot Daly. You know, he was in his 4th Lions test. He played himself into that 23, and then he's gone and fractured his arm. But I guess it's like anything in the Lions tour. Yeah. You know, if you make an egg, you're going to break it.
One door closes, one door opens.
And the Aussies at the weekend, they're taking on Fiji, and I don't see the it's not a good idea for me because they are physical, aren't they?
Yeah,
and they're going to get more injuries. I'm sure they are, the Aussies. So I don't know who picked that fixture, but ahead of the opening test, I don't know.
When is the opening test, Al?
Is it next week?
No, it's in 2-3 weeks' time, I think. Yeah, there's a couple more. We've got the Brumbies. Yeah, but the thing about Australia is there's been a bit of controversy because they've not been playing their stars in the games, like with the Waratahs, Queens and Reds. Like none of their major stars are playing in those club games. So there's a bit of frustration from the Lions camp that they're not putting out their major international stars in the Lions warm-up games. They're resting them, but you can understand. I mean, you know, it happens all the time, getting injured.
Okay, Max, thank you for that. That was a look at today's back pages with Tesco Mobile for Business, coming up 6:26.
Backpage review on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Are you a small retailer? Get business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big mobile networks. For terms and verification, visit tescomobile.com/business.
Coming up for you in talkSPORT Breakfast, continue to pay tribute to Jota and his brother after the tragic passing in a car crash yesterday. Oh, with the brilliant writer Dom King from the Mail, as well as Liverpool legend Mark Lawrenson. We'll get more reaction to Jack Draper's shock exit from Wimbledon with former pro Barry Cowan, a man who knows Draper very well in Nick Kyrgios. Owen Farrell is a lion once again. His former teammate at Sarries, Jim Hamilton, will tell us what impact he can have in the squad and how he will deal with being coached by his dad. Ray will tell us why he's concerned by Arsenal's lack of transfer activity so far this summer. So much coming up with me, Alan Brazil, and Ray Parlour on the Sports Breakfast.
Football fans all have stadiums we love, but do any of us have a pitch we love? It might sound like an odd question, but pitches can be different sizes with big consequences. Why is that? And what are the actual rules behind it? Back when association football started, pitches could be 100 metres wide and 200 metres long. That's longer than Ellen Road. Not the pitch, the stadium. Anyway, UEFA wanted a standard across Europe which became 105 metres long and 68 metres wide. But some clubs had been rebels, not intentionally but because of the stadiums. Take Highbury for example. It was 5 metres shorter and a metre narrower, meaning away sides had a challenge just to adjust. Today, Forest Pitch at the City Ground is a big one, 2 metres wider than others. But the smallest of all? Craven Cottage, just 100 metres long and 65 metres wide. There are a couple of crazy outliers in Europe too, such as Napoli's home ground, the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona, where the pitch is a whopping 110 metres long. So UEFA have their standards, so do the FA, but they give pitches in England some wiggle room. Pitches can be anywhere between 90 and 120 metres long, between 45 and 90 metres wide. Just imagine a pitch that's 120 metres long and 45 wide. Madness. So there you have it. There is a standard size and most teams do generally follow it. But as we all know, size doesn't matter, does it?
morning, 6:32. talkSPORT breakfast with Arnold Clark. Get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. Ray Parlour alongside me. Right, unfortunately, we're still trying to come to terms with yesterday's awful news that Liverpool star Jota had passed away after being involved in a car accident. And Anfield, well, was an incredibly emotional place yesterday, as you can imagine.
Liverpool have win number 100 against Everton. They bring up a century of Merseyside derby victories, courtesy of that goal from Diogo Jota.
The thing with Liverpool is we're not just a team, he's an honorary Scouser. We've lost one of his own, just heartbreaking. It's not just him, it's his brother as well, his poor family.
It feels like you know him, but you don't know him, if that makes sense. You just want to know, you just want to try and support, let people know that, you know, the family know that everyone in the world's going to be thinking about them.
We've been through a lot as a city, and, you know, we gather ourselves, but you can't prepare for things like this, can you?
No, I live up here now, but I still go to Wolves every week. Still a season ticket holder. We won the championship with him, Ruben Neves, and Nuno. Probably the best team I've seen at Wolverhampton in my lifetime.
Everyone knows what it's like to lose someone. It feels like we've lost one of our own.
The fans just absolutely adored him. If he was injured, we wanted him back. If he was on the pitch, we thought he'd score.
Just a gentleman on the pitch, off the pitch. He donated money to charities, Hillsborough, other charities, the foundation. He done everything he could.
You'll never walk alone. You're always in our hearts. Never forget you. Never forget.
Yeah, very, very, very sad day. Woof. The sound of an incredibly emotional fan base yesterday, some lovely scenes as well. Seeing fans from Everton, United and all football clubs turning up to pay tribute. A day when the football family comes together to support each other and demonstrate just how loved and appreciated Diogo Jota was. In the front page of The Sun this morning, they've described the former Portuguese forward as football has lost a champion. And Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk wrote on social media, "We'll miss you beyond words and never forget you. Your legacy will live on and we'll make sure of it." Let's cross to talkSPORT's Merseyside correspondent Matt Jones, who was across this devastating news yesterday up at Anfield for us. Good morning, Matt.
Morning, Matt.
Good morning, both of you.
Matt, just give us it was a very, very tragic, terrible day yesterday, and people waking up this morning are still devastated by all this. Are we expecting a lot of people to show their respect coming down to Anfield to the gates?
I think they will continue to come. I mean, thousands of people streamed to Anfield yesterday just because they wanted to be somewhere where they could kind of show their grief, really, or pay tribute. And I think, you know, people will have woken up yesterday and they just won't have been able to believe the news. This morning they're coming to terms with the news, and they may have made plans today to if they don't live on Merseyside, to make the journey up, or maybe they just didn't have the chance yesterday to come down because of work or whatnot. But I think they will, and I think they will see this continue for 2 or 3 days, because it's just staggering news, isn't it?
How have the club reacted to the news, and you know, what do you think they will do? Because one thing about Liverpool Football Club, they've had a lot of tragedies over the years, but they've always got it right how they've dealt with it.
They have. I mean, it is going to be fascinating to see what they do. I spoke to a lot of fans outside Anfield yesterday, and several of them called for the number 20 shirt to be retired in Diogo Jota's memory, and we've seen a number of teams do that in the past with shirts of players who have sadly passed away early. So that might be something that they do. I mean, we know that Liverpool have got pre-season starting soon. They've got games coming up. They've got a friendly against Preston not too long away, and that's going to be a really hard occasion for everyone to deal with, assuming that game goes ahead. But all the tributes that came out yesterday from the players, the staff, Arne Slot, and the people above Arne Slot, they were so well and poignantly written, I thought. And you're right, Alan, they really, and Ray, they have had these kind of things happen to them before, sadly, and they have always dealt with them properly and correctly, and they will continue to do that on this occasion too.
Yeah, I think it was yourself yesterday who told us, Matt, about 20th title, and of course Jota wore number 20. It was remarkable.
These things kind of do have a way of linking up, don't they, and joining together. I mean, and he played such a vital role in it. And you think of the goals that he scored for Liverpool. His last one for Liverpool was against Everton. obviously that helped them beat Everton for the 100th time. They had the numerous other goals that he scored. I spoke to a few fans yesterday. Steve Rotherham, who's the Metro Mayor of Liverpool, said that his favourite Jota moment was when he scored the winner against Spurs in a game that they won 4-3. So he provided the fans with so many great memories. And for 5 years, he won 3 major trophies. He won major honours with Portugal as well.
Yeah.
Only 28. And yet did so much in his career, so much, more than most players can ever dream of achieving. And I think the sadness is, on top of everything else, how much more, and this is obviously only very small compared to the loss for his family and the loss of a man at such a young age, but he could have gone on and done so much more for Liverpool and for Portugal as well. And obviously, sadly, that chance has been taken away from him.
Matt, personally, what's your favourite memories of Diogo?
Well, I just, if I think of him off the field, of the times where I either met him to interview him or he walked past me at Anfield where I was doing media duties down there after a game, he always had a smile on his face. And I think that's the thing that I remember him for, as well as the football. So he just always looked like he was enjoying himself. And I think that's not always the case for all footballers, is it? Sometimes you look at them and think you're just here because you have to be. And I don't think that was always the case with him. He just looked like he was having the best time. And if you look at some of the tributes that have come out, I think it was Virgil van Dijk or Harvey Elliott, or probably both of them, said just how great a person he was. And it was that more than the football that put him so highly in their regard. So for me, it's just, he just came across as a really nice guy who was there to have a good time and was having a good time. And I think that's more important than the football, really.
Yeah, Matt, thank you for that. On a tough day yesterday and a tough morning. Crikey. It'd be interesting, Ray, when you go over to Portugal, just the reaction over there.
Massive reaction there as well.
You know, he was loved over there.
Absolutely, wasn't he? A major player in the team. So I think everybody involved in football around the world will be. This is absolutely heartbreaking news. It really is. And as you said before, the football family come together when a tragedy like this happens, and remembers him, because I always remember him as always smart, as Matt says there, smile on his face. Yeah. Never. He looked like he was a player that never really caused a problem. Get on with it if he had to. Obviously, he wants to play every week, but he couldn't. With the players they had. But he never sort of looked like he was sulking, or he'd give his all for every time he come on that pitch, and he could change a game on his own, impact sub at times. He started games, scored goals, scored some vital goals, and he just looked like the complete player. And I talk about the character as well with that, not just the talent he had, but the character around the dressing room. I can feel it from the players, what they've said on their Instagram accounts and all that sort of stuff, saying he was such a big player in our dressing room, and a character in our dressing room. And that is so important if you're going to have a winning formula, which Liverpool had in the end. And he was a lot to do with that, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, we're going to be joined by Mail Merseyside writer, the Daily Mail, Dom King, for more on this horrible story around 7 a.m. this morning. But up next, we'll look ahead to the Lions' next warm-up game, and that is tomorrow evening.
plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Okay, 6:44, talkSPORT Breakfast with Ray Parlour. Some of the other headlines you're waking up to this morning after India posted a massive 587 in the first innings at Edgbaston. They then reduced England to 77 for 3 at the close of day 2. Gill was brilliant again, hit a record 269 for an Indian player in England. Joe Root and Harry Brook are at the crease when play resumes 11 o'clock this morning. Newcastle have made an improved £55 million offer for Anthony Elanga and are on the verge of agreeing a deal with Forest. And personal terms are not thought to be an issue, although there could yet be interest from elsewhere. And it looks as though Britain's hope of a men's winner at Wimbledon have gone up in smoke after Jack Draper was dumped out yesterday. His former finalist Nick Kyrgios reacting to the defeat on his talkSPORT podcast, Wimbledon Unfiltered.
Draper was he's top 5 in the world, and he's competing for Grand Slams, coming off a semi-final at US Open last year. Yeah, but Marin Cilic is a danger. He's a floater. He's always a dark horse, and people forget he's a Grand Slam champion. He's one of those guys that actually had a breakthrough when the 4 of the greatest of all time were playing. But Marin Cilic, I think he really remembered what he could do on a tennis court, and on grass he's dangerous. He's one of the best servers in the world still. Incredible backhand. But Draper just looked a bit out of sorts, came out a bit flat. Obviously 2 sets to love down. It's never easy to come back, but again, this Wimbledon's been so strange. So many upsets, so many seeds falling. Looks like the draw's opening up for Sinner and Alcaraz.
I have to say, I think it's Sinner Alcaraz, who's going to win it, but Cilic, can he produce that again?
That's the problem, isn't it?
His power, because he's getting on a bit, and he's
36, yeah.
He was getting around that court. He put Draper under so much pressure, and the times he found the back lines, unbelievable. And
the serve out was so important as well, wasn't it? That first serve, get that first serve in, bit of pace. But yeah,
will you get down there, Ray? Would you go if you got a ticket?
I've been there 1 year, and I think I watched the wrong match, Al, because I think Djokovic was playing and he won 6-0 the first set, and we ended up going in the bar instead and watched it in there. Yeah, because it was a bit too. You want to see an exciting game, didn't you? Like close, could go either way. But this was too much of a. I think we went too early in the tournament. And a lot of these guys, quarterfinals, that's when it starts really hotting up, doesn't it? Quarterfinal semis.
There's a few empty seats surprised me yesterday. Maybe people are too warm,
it's very warm in the last few days, isn't it?
But I did notice as the game went on, there was one, there was a few empty seats.
Yeah, which I'm surprised with.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was disappointed, of course I was, but I really enjoyed it. And then I thought, well done, Cilic. He deserved that. He was brilliant.
Again, he's got the experience, and you know what it's like if you can have your game of your life when you don't expect it, and he's probably just everything was flowing, everything was going for him, and you get days like that. It's like any sport, it goes for you, and he's got the experience to know once he gets on top of a player, he knows how to finish him off. So yeah, that's how he probably won. That's how he gets on the next round now.
Don't forget you hear Nick Kyrgios' thoughts on every day's play in his podcast, Wimbledon Unfiltered, and he'll be joining us in the show this morning around 9:15 now. The Lions are back in action again tomorrow morning, taking on the Warriors live on talkSPORT. The big news, though, is Coach Andy Farrell has called up his son Owen as Elliot Daly's replacement. Here's Andy explaining why he's made this decision.
Look at international games or we look at club games or whatever, but the person's still the person, and the character's still the character, and the player inside is still the player inside if he's fit and well and ready to fire. And we see all of that, all the hunger that's always been there. So we see him adding to the group and injecting a bit of life and experience as far as what he can bring to the squad.
This was always going to be a difficult one, wasn't it, for Andy Farrell? Ray, do you think you would find it difficult not getting picked by your old man?
Yeah, it is an awkward one, but you go by, you know, you don't hold it against anybody. You know, it's a massive decision for any manager. I remember football reasons when Harry was picking Frank Lampard, wasn't it, at West Ham, and it was his uncle, and is he getting picked because it's his uncle and whatever, and all that sort of stuff. But you got to go and prove it in yourself. But we know Owen's a great player as well, don't we? So yeah. He's a fantastic player. So
a great competitor as well.
Absolutely. So it's a situation where, you know, he knows he can trust him. He knows his character. And he's a competitor. So that's what you need when you go into a Lions tour. And I'm sure he'll do a great job. I'm sure it's no problem whatsoever.
John is now looking ahead to the game as someone who'll be taking on the Lions tomorrow, hailing from Durham. A very, very good morning to Waratah's flanker, Jamie Adamson. Jamie, a very good morning.
Morning, Jamie.
How are we?
Yeah, very well, Jamie. Jamie, this is going to be tough for you, isn't it? You know, the Lions are just beginning to find their stride now, and it looks a strong squad as well. So, but you'll be looking forward to it, won't you, Jamie?
Yeah, of course. You know, it's a massive occasion. Definitely going to be a tough game. They're a test match level side, so yeah, it's going to be a tough one. We've seen from their past two games, you know, the scores they put on the other two Super Rugby franchises. But yeah, massive occasion. Really looking forward to it.
Anyone in particular you're targeting, or is it just a case of, you know, just hoping really just to, you know, maybe take the game to the Lions early doors, because they have started a wee bit slow in the two opening games.
Yeah, they have. You know, there's been a big contrast between the first 20 minutes and the last 20 minutes. I think the past two teams have really taken it to them in that first 20, but they've just struggled to maintain that intensity throughout the whole game. But you know, I'm just particularly looking forward to going up against those other English guys. You know, seeing how the best of the best from back home do it. So yeah, it'll be pretty cool.
Jamie, it's interesting to see what does your coach say? Does he go make it physical, make it really tough for them? You know, because you go into, I can't imagine you going through the motions playing rugby anyway. But how will you approach it? Will you be really tough and really have a go at them?
Yeah, of course. You know, like I said, this is a test match really for us. So we're just going to have to, you know, up our intensity and, you know, weather that first 20 minutes and then just try and stick with it for the rest of the game. But yeah, if we just sit back and go inside our shells, then, you know, it could be another 50-point game. So we need to attack them, go after them, and yeah, just stick with that high intensity.
Yeah, Henry Pollock's made a bit of a name for himself, isn't he? He's a bit cocky, but he's some player. And then Finn Russell as well. Finn's getting his hands on the ball and making things work.
Yeah, definitely. You know, he's had an outstanding season, and yeah, thoroughly deserved his spot on the tour. So yeah, it'll be a cool matchup going up against him. And then yeah, the likes of, you know, Finn Russell, they've got so many world class players in that squad. So just sharing the pitch with them will be an experience.
Jamie, I was going, Ray.
I was just about to say, James, do you swap shirts at the end and things like that, or?
Yeah.
And who are you going to go for? Who are you going to go for?
Well, I think boys are keen to swap their opposite numbers, but I'd be keen to get my hands on one of the English boys' shirts. So yeah, maybe a Henry Pollock or a Ben Earl.
Oh, lovely.
What about what's it like when you run out and there'll be red everywhere, won't they? The Lions are taking a big support over to Australia.
Yeah, I think they're expecting 40,000 fans over here throughout the course of the tour. So, you know, I can definitely see a bit of a buzz around Sydney now.
Yeah.
But, you know, as we approach those tests towards the end of the month, I think there's going to be a lot of red shirts around. So, yeah, it'll be really cool, you know, especially being an Englishman out here. You know, it'll be awesome seeing all that home support.
What about in terms of, you know, do you think this will be the toughest game for the Lions so far? You'll be hoping that, obviously, but do you think this will be the hardest game so far?
I mean, yeah, I'd hope so. We're hoping we're gonna put on a good performance, and one that we can be proud of. We got a couple of our Wallabies boys back, and then we've also had the benefit of seeing how the Lions have played in the last 2 club games, which the other clubs didn't necessarily have. So we can do a bit of preview. But yeah, no, we're definitely going out there with the aim of putting in a performance we can be proud of and taking it to them.
Well, Jamie, listen, we wish you all the best. I mean that. Hopefully you'll have a good day. It's going to be a cracking few games. The series coming up and building up to that first test as well is going to be great. But good luck to you.
Yeah, and I hope you get the shirt you want, Jamie.
Thanks very much, boys. I appreciate your time.
Lovely, Jamie. Thank you, Jamie Adamson there. So it's going to be difficult. Durham lad playing
of
against,
course it is, yeah. I mean, obviously, all the guys were trying to steam in, weren't they, to the Lions team? But they've been there and done it before. The players know what to expect. But as an English person playing against them, obviously you want the Lions to beat Australia. So I wonder if Jamie goes in a little bit weaker than the other guys.
No, I don't think he can do that.
I don't think because you'll end up getting injured yourself.
Correct. We always said that in football, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you go in half-hearted, you'll come off the worst.
Yeah, definitely. So, but he's going to be brilliant. I think the first test is July the 19th, Al.
19th, right.
So we look forward to that. And
that's not long.
No, a couple of weeks' time, which would be really, really good to watch. But I fancy him. I think they might be a little bit too strong for the Australians, but you never know the Australians, do you? The crowd will get behind them, and as you rightly said there, though, there's going to be a massive following for the Lions as well, which will make it for
imagine them in Sydney in the bars down by the harbour, down the rocks and all that. It'd be
perfect.
Fantastic.
Great atmosphere, and they certainly know how to enjoy themselves, the rugby supporters.
The British and Irish Lions action continues to come thick and fast, taking on the New South Wales Waratahs tomorrow exclusively on talkSPORT 11 a.m. Don't forget, talkSPORT has been your home of the Lions for the last 12 years, and this year no different. We'll be bringing you live and exclusive commentary of all 3 test matches, plus the tour games, and talkSPORT's the only place on national radio we can follow all the Lions action. And every weekday from 11 a.m. over on talkSPORT 2, we bring you the Lions Uncaged, a brilliant exclusive content and everything you need to know about the tour. Don't miss that. Right, still to come on Breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Find everything you need for your landscaping project in stock and available for delivery. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, we're going to be reacting to, well, it has to be said, a disappointing day for the Brits. SW19 yesterday, Wimbledon. The big news is a 4th seed. Jack Draper is out. We're going to be joined by former tennis pro Barry Cowan to find out why Jack can't seem to make it past round 2 at the All England Club. And Bazball seemed to break down yesterday. India, who have a poor record there, Edgbaston, racked up 587 before leaving England 77 for 3 at the end of day 2. We'll hear why Steve Harmy still isn't ruling out an English win, though. What about that? Ray, what your best comebacks? Can you remember off the top of your head?
Best comebacks. I remember playing in a game for Middlesbrough, and we was 4-1 up. We drew 4-4.
Yeah.
So away to Norwich.
All
so
right.
that would have been a good one for Norwich, and you don't want to be on the end of that one.
No.
But comebacks, we've not really been. When we've been 2 or 3 down, 3-0 down, we've lost the game. But we've had a couple of 2-0 down and come back.
Yeah.
Maybe 1-3-2. But that's probably the most. Bet yourself.
Off the top of my head,
you was always in front, Al, weren't you?
No, I wouldn't say that, but I remember we Johnny Work saved us against Charlton in the FA Cup at the Valley. Alan Stevenson played for them, and that was, we were nearly knocked out, but we took them back to Portman Road and beat them.
I think the best comeback of all time for me has got to be Liverpool.
Liverpool,
it's got to be Champions League final. I remember watching that game, and what the Italians defensively were like, so strong, know how to defend, know how to see a game out. To come back and win that Champions League was unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay, that was a look ahead with Travis Perkins. In the second hour of the show coming up, plenty to come. Barry Cowan, we'll talk to Barry, of course, about Jack Draper. I watched the game. I thought Draper played all right. Not his best, but Cilic was fantastic. Dom King will tell us about a tough day up in Merseyside yesterday, that's for sure. Max Scott again will bring us all the latest transfer gossip and what's in the back pages. Adrian Durham will join us, and Jim Hamilton, former Scotland and Sarries lock, ahead of this game against the Waratahs. It's coming up 2 minutes to 7 on talkSPORT.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Join the club and get low trade prices. Find out more at travisperkins.co.uk or download the app.
Cricket balls are red, baseballs are white, American footballs are brown, and tennis balls are yellow. We don't even think about it really, but the story behind the tennis ball is actually quite interesting, and even involves Sir David Attenborough. I know. Well, here's the tale. Tennis is widely known to be a French sport. It dates back to the 12th century when people used handmade balls, and it was then called tennis, which is the verb to hold in French. And people used some pretty wacky material to make the balls with: cork, wool, chalk, animal fur, and even human hair. A few centuries on, Germany got dead into the tennis too, but wanted to make a few modifications to the ball to make it a bit more effective. Around this time, an American chemist had just created something called vulcanized rubber. Out of that, people started developing air-filled rubber balls, which were properly bouncy, but either red or grey in colour. These were manufactured in Melton Mowbray. That's right, the home of the pork pie. One problem, the balls kept on breaking on impacts with the racket. The call of "new balls please" seemingly coming over every other point. Step forward English lawyer and tennis enthusiast John Moyer Heathcote, who suggested balls be covered in flannel to stop them from degrading. And thus the modern-day tennis ball was born. But these were white or black, so how did they become yellow? Well, in 1967, the controller of BBC Two, one Sir David Attenborough, decided the corporation should show Wimbledon on colour TV. He got his wish, and it was wide into people's homes across the country. The only sticking point, the white balls were nearly impossible to see on the screen. So the International Tennis Federation, sensing an opportunity, started developing a new ball that would be visible even without the need for 4K LED displays. Not that anyone had that in the late 60s. After rigorous testing, they came up with the colour optic yellow and decided every ball be coated in that colour from there on in. And there you have it. Tennis balls are yellow, all because Sir David Attenborough wanted to watch Wimbledon from the comfort of his own front room. You could say the ITF aced it.
This is talkSPORT Breakfast. Ray Parlour alongside me. So, as the news of Diego Jota's tragic passing reaching us yesterday, tributes, well, they came flooding in.
The thing with Liverpool is we're not just a team, he's an honorary Scouser. We've lost one of his own.
He was one of the greatest players that I've seen play for Wolves.
Everybody in Portugal is really, really shocked and devastated for what had happened.
Heartbreaking. I was shocked, like all of us.
It feels like you know him, but you don't know him, if that makes sense. You just want to know, you just want to try and support, let people know that, you know, the family know that everyone in the world's going to be thinking about them.
I had the pleasure a few times being around the training ground, talking to him, listening about his career, how he was, and he's just really, really humble. The Wolves fans loved him.
He was one of the greatest players that I've seen play for Wolves.
These players mean something to people and they become icons, and to see his life cut so short it's just horrible.
If he was injured, we wanted him back. If he was on the pitch, we thought he'd score.
He will be remembered really fondly because he's created some magic moments in the memories of those Liverpool fans.
His song was one of the ones that was sung the loudest and the longest every week on the car. And that was because there was a bond there. That's because we saw something in him.
I'm completely numb, I'm still shaking, because just can't believe,
And more than 2 football players, we lost 2 young guys who has a huge talent that loves what they do.
He was our number 20. And we won our 20th league title this year. I implore the club to retire that shirt. I think it'd be the right thing to do.
You'll never walk alone. You're always in our hearts. Never forget you. Never forget.
Yeah, absolutely fitting tributes there. Just heartbreaking for all football fans, really. People were shocked, and the tributes kept coming. For some who was clearly captured the hearts of so many. We had this lovely poem sent in from Natalie, a Liverpool fan, on 8/10/89. She writes, Diogo, the number 20 shirt you wore, you're the best, you always give us your all. With your magic trickery, you had defenders on the floor. You gave us such excitement, you made Anfield roar. We sang your iconic song every time you would score. You're a legend forever. We will always adore. We love you dearly from the core. Can't believe you're not with us anymore. But we know you'll never walk alone, and will always be remembered for sure. A Red family member from the core. Natalie, thank you. Ray, we analysed, criticised, enjoyed the beautiful game, but still this shows that football, it does come together.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. It was lovely to hear tributes from every different people from different clubs, and I was in shock yesterday morning when I heard the news, and it's such a young man, and his brother as well. Let's not forget his brother. That summed it up for me. He's smiling on his wedding day 11 days ago, 12 days ago, 3 beautiful children, and suddenly it all goes. Disaster happens like this, and everybody's just mourning now. And as I said before, Liverpool have had their tragedies over the years, and they've always somehow got over it and done the right thing. So it'd be interesting to see what they do, and I'm sure whatever they do, it'll be the right decision. And and you know, it's just a really hard day for everybody who loves football. And you know, when you hear any passing of anybody involved in football, I think most football fans come together and say what a great player he was, or what a nice man he was. Always had time for people.
Well, that's coming across that he was a top guy.
Yeah, and that's so important now. As I said before, in dressing room areas, and I'm just listening to some of his teammates. We don't know him as a person, but you can just sense that he was such an important player for that dressing room area. Didn't play every week, but he always gave his all. He was always smiling. He always done the best for the team, and that's all you need as a professional footballer. And it's such a sad loss. And I'm sure the Portugal players have been exactly the same. Or any club he's played for. Wolves, we've heard Matt Murray earlier, a great fitting of him saying that he come from Atletico Madrid and went to the Championship and still was humble and done his best he can and got him promoted, and he had his big move to Liverpool. But yeah, it's shocking news yesterday, and it's nice to hear the tributes and pay respect for such a nice man.
Yeah. Liverpool defender Andy Robertson wrote on social media yesterday, he said, I can't believe we're saying goodbye. It's too soon and it hurts so much. But thank you for being in my life, mate, and for making it better. He added that he was the most British foreign player ever, and often called him Diogo Jota. A lovely tribute from his Liverpool teammate. Trent Alexander-Arnold joined his Real Madrid colleagues in holding a moment of silence for his former Liverpool teammate before he shared a heartfelt tribute on social media. Trent wrote, it's so difficult to find the right words when your head and heart are struggling to accept that someone you care so much about has gone. Amazing.
It's like a dream, isn't it? You think I'm going to wake up soon. It hasn't happened. But
a nightmare, you mean? Yeah. Let's get more on this. We'll cross over to the Daily Mail's Merseyside writer, Dom King. Dom, morning, Dom.
Good morning, gents.
Morning, Dom.
Oh, Dom, what a day yesterday, eh? Horrendous.
I'll do my best to try and put into some words. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to capture the enormity of it all. I think it's probably one of the worst stories I have ever heard, been involved with, witnessed. The outpouring of grief is incredible, and it just gives you an idea of how loved he was universally. Fans, I've been trying to explain to some people who are not familiar with it, and he was never the superstar, but he was a superstar person, and he was the type of player and character that if you're going to be successful as a team, you need him. Everybody loved him. He was a gentleman whenever you dealt with him. He was courteous. He treated you with respect. Impeccable English, clever lad. Just a gem, an absolute gem. And I heard, some of the sound bites that he had there before. He had a song about he's the lad from Portugal, better than Figo, don't you know? And Liverpool fans only make those songs for songs of that imagination and colour for the people, for the players that have got something about them, and he embodied their very, very best characteristics. And I don't have the words to sort of explain the chasm that will be left by this.
And when the news came through yesterday, I was like, what? It was, I think there was half an hour left of the show. We were just floored. Chins dropped all round, from the production staff to our guests. It was like, what? I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Yeah. Do you know? I've woken up. I woke up this morning about 6 o'clock, and when you momentary pause and think, no, that never happened, and then you start going back through social media and looking at the coverage, how widespread it is, and this is going to be with us for days and days and days, and for the foreseeable future, because it's just one of the players that I need to be very, very clear to people. I'm not going to try and make this suggestion that I knew Diogo personally. I didn't. I knew him from dealings with him in very professional dealings with him. But I know enough people behind the scenes at Liverpool. I've got a lot of friends there who are absolutely in bits. about the person that they've lost, and I knew from the way they spoke about him to me just what type of person he is, and so I know everything that you read, everything that you will see, all the tributes for him, the from the heart and the meant, because that's what he meant to people. And another thing that I have to stress about this, we're talking about this through the medium of football, but it's so much more than this, and I think this is what is striking with everybody on a wider audience. This is a husband, a father to 3 beautiful kids. He was a son, he was a brother, he was an uncle. That's the only thing that matters here. That's the families in mourning this morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dom, we'll leave it at that, mate. Thank you. Really.
All right, gents. I'll speak to you soon. Thanks.
What can you say?
Yeah, no, it's a really difficult one, and you know, I know the pre-season guys they'll be going back soon into training, and you got to try and continue and try and focus, but it's going to take a long time out to get over this. And as I said before, being a teammate, sometimes it's like your family. It's like having 25 brothers with you, and suddenly you lose one of those brothers, and it's heartbreaking for everybody. And there'll be a lot of players in that dressing room a little bit closer than others, maybe, who maybe go out for dinner with their wives and are very, very close knit. And they're going to struggle as well, because when you've lost a friend, as much as you're a colleague and you're work colleagues, but you end up being your mate as well, and you're one of your best pals because you're with him all the time. He might room with people and stuff like that, and you know, it's going to really take its toll on a lot of people, and it's people behind the scenes as well at Liverpool who see him every day.
Don
says there, like, you know, the canteen ladies and the people wash the kits and all that sort of stuff. You know, there's a lot of people behind the scenes who would be really struggling as well, who knew him very well, see him every day, and you know, said hello to him every day, had a chat with him every day, and they're going to struggle as well, definitely.
03717223344 is the number to call this morning to pay tribute to Diogo Jota. Jimmy's a Liverpool fan, and Jimmy has called us this morning. Jimmy, how are you, Jimmy?
Struggling a bit, Al, I'm not going to lie. But I've listened to, obviously, the radio for the last 24 hours. A big thanks to talkSPORT. The way you've covered this with a lot of compassion. But what I'd like to share, Al, is my memory, you know, of going to the game, watching Diego. People forget, and it's a great memory, of the FA Cup final against Chelsea. It went to sudden death. Sadio Mane missed our 5th penalty to win the cup. I think Chelsea scored, and Diego stepped up. And if he would have missed, we lose that cup final. But honestly, I'd say to your listeners, look at that penalty again. That summed up the man. Cool, you know, not phased. Top right-hand corner with pace. Yeah. And obviously, you know, Mason Mount misses. And, you know, Simicast scores the winner. But Diego kept us in that shootout.
Yeah.
You know, I was there against Tottenham, the 4-3 game. Again, you know, Jota the slaughter. You know, and his last goal against Everton. You know, honestly, but I say to people, you know, to remember them, just go and have a... I think that penalty summed up the man.
Yeah. Jimmy, a lot of people will be looking at now and saying, right, I'm going to get that up on social media, have a look at that again. Jimmy, thank you for that.
I think he's been a great servant to, every club he's been at, I should imagine. Atletico, people would have said, oh, what a great guy and whatever. Wolves, we've heard a lot of people from Wolves when he first come there and played there, and he was brilliant at Wolves.
Yeah.
He got his big move to Liverpool, and he's continued on.
Do you know who've been bits over this? I was thinking about it last night. It's Kenny Dalglish. Kenny's seen so much tragedy up at Liverpool.
Oh, absolutely.
He'll be in bits, Kenny.
Yeah. I think everybody involved in Liverpool Football Club, but I think everybody around the world, Al, just that presence he had, the player he was, as I said before, and I'm just as Dom hit the nail on the head really. So you've got to look at a bigger picture here: the family, all the people involved. His mother, his father, his brother. He lost his brother as well, and it's just awful. And he's got 3 lovely children who are going to grow up now, and it's just heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking.
For more reaction to this tragic news, talksport.com has every tribute to Diego Jota, a man so clearly loved and adored by so many. And TalkSport's Daily Today is a podcast dedicated to the sensational man and player. Listen to anywhere you get your podcasts from. This is TalkSport Breakfast. Alan Brazil Ray Parlour up next. We turn our attention to England's struggles against India in the second Test match up at Edgbaston.
He plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
7:23, Ray Parlour alongside me now. On to cricket. Ben Stokes and Bazball suffered one of the most disappointing days so far yesterday as India racked up 587 in the first innings at Edgbaston. England then closed the day on 77 for 3, a whopping 510 runs behind, and former fast bowler Stevie Harmison isn't ruling out Stokes' side just yet.
England will still feel now they can win it, but it's outrageous to even contemplate England winning from here. But what they'll do is they'll make sure that they're still giving themselves a chance, hopefully by 6:30 this time tomorrow night, and that means batting all day. And if they are 100 behind, they'll believe having India in the field for so long might do like what Steve was saying, put 3 wickets on that 4th or 5th session, and then all of a sudden England will feel like they did at Headingley, we can chase anything. It's a long shot, but you're coming from a draw's point of view. England will still believe that if we are positive and we are still thinking we can try and win the game, then if we draw the game, well, so be it.
Stevie Harmison there, so the cricket might not be over, but the wait for the reunion of the century is finally as it starts tonight, and we're giving you a chance to win, tonight, a pair of Oasis tickets in Manchester for July the 19th. Yes, you heard that's right. Oasis Live 25 is a sellout, but talkSPORT can get you in. That's not all. Alongside the tickets, we'll put you up for a night in a hotel, put £5,000 in your back pocket, and that's completely tax-free. Listen up right now for everything you need to know and how to enter.
All right, kids, you have to be over 18 to enter in the UK, excluding Northern Ireland, for the chance to win a pair of tickets to the most electrifying rock and roll reunion of the century, a hotel stay and £5,000 spending money. Text the word Oasis to 83338 by Monday the 7th of July at 11 p.m, and you'll be entered into the draw to go supersonic this summer. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or post your name and number to Oasis Prize Draw, PO Box 3190, Colchester, CO2 8GP, to arrive by 5 p.m. on the 10th of July. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. Good luck, yeah? Sorted.
Backbeat, the word is on the street that the fire in your heart is out. I'm sure you've heard it all before, but you never really had a doubt. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now.
Right, Max Scott is back with us for more on this huge reunion. Max.
Yeah, the long-awaited Oasis reunion gets underway at the Principality tonight. 62,000 fans going to be there. Before I get into the story in The Sun about tambourines, anoraks and bucket hats, I've got to ask, boys, back in April, Noel Gallagher came on the show and he offered you two a pair of tickets. Did you take up his offer?
Yeah.
Which one are you going to?
Wembley.
Do you know, what about you, Ray?
Are you going?
Yeah. You laugh at that.
No, do you know what? I didn't want to take him up. I think one of the guys had him here because I was hoping to be on the Arsenal tour, if I'm being honest. Okay, fair enough. When is it? It's 27th, isn't it?
I can't Wembley. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Oh, you going? So you must know when it is.
I'm doing a lot of things, I don't remember them all.
I know that.
So why didn't we blown out the Arsenal tour? That's more important.
I don't know. I can't believe you've not taken a ticket, Ray. My sister and brother-in-law...
I think all the guys behind have nicked them.
I don't know if they're allowed them.
I think Ollie's had him, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
My sister and brother-in-law got 16 tickets between them and a few mates between them, right?
Yeah,
They didn't give me one.
Joking.
I'm absolutely gutted. Anyway, I'm delighted for you, Al. It's going to be an absolute blast at that. Look, massive tour. But the story here in The Sun. Tambourines, bucket hats and anoraks are flying off the shelves as fans clamour to mimic their idols, particularly Liam Gallagher. Sales of the instrument have rocketed 155%.
Really? According, someone.
Well, yeah. Are you going to be with your bucket hat?
Tambourine now?
Tambourine?
No. No, I'm too much of an anorak for that.
Well, look, I've got to ask, return of Britpop to the big stages. I was born in 93, Ray, which I'm reliably informed you won your first league FA Cup double in 93. In the 90s, Al, you were, I think, what was the show it was called? It's Just Like Watching Brazil. In the early days of Talk, you were presenting in the late 90s.
Is that what it was called?
That's according to the internet. But what I want to know is, so I grew up I was a young boy in 93, obviously listened to all these Britpop, Pulp, Blur, etc. But I wasn't there in my prime. You were, Ray. In your prime, in the 90s, what was it like?
Oh, different class, weren't they? I mean, Oasis was for me, the best.
Right, okay.
Definitely. Blur were very good, weren't they? There was from our manor, weren't they?
There was a big rivalry, wasn't there?
There was a massive rivalry between both.
Damon Albarn.
But I just remember some of the songs Liam and Noel sang was.
Oh no, they were brilliant.
Well, that last song, which you heard, that was one of the best songs all day long.
What do you reckon? Britpop's the best era for British music?
No.
How's the music man more?
No, I'm more late 70s or 70s, mid 70s, late 70s. It's what you grew up to.
Who's your favourite band?
Oh, there was so many. There was Rod, there was Bowie.
Well, yeah, Rod.
You know, the Stones were about, the Who were about. There's some great.
Just talking about Rod.
And Motown as well. You know, all the music from America was fantastic.
It's amazing. Rod at Glastonbury was different class, wasn't he?
80-year-old.
Ronnie Wood coming on. There's some.
I enjoyed that.
Ronnie's absolute legend as well.
She come on. I really enjoyed Mick Hucknell. That was great. It was the crowd were brilliant.
Yeah. I've never been to Glastonbury. Have you been?
No.
Your daughters used to go, didn't they?
Lucy's been.
Glastonbury?
I've never been. Never been to Glastonbury.
You ain't got a ticket there, no Oasis ticket.
I'm just complaining about lack of tickets. Now I ain't got tickets for anything. But I mean, I was in Sardinia for Glastonbury, so I didn't catch
See, my favourite band's always Jamiroquai. So the early 90s, they had some great records. Their first couple of albums they had was superb. JK. So they're going to be performing at the O2 in December.
Oh, lovely.
So I definitely go into that one.
You're going to that, but you're not going to Oasis. Ray, I'm devastated.
I said, look, can I let you know? And I didn't hear nothing back from the talkSPORT guys. I think they've got, I'll have them.
Scott,
they've all got them. So,
Ollie, they're all good.
You know what they're like, Max, I can't believe you haven't got a ticket.
I'm gutted.
You could have had my two.
Well, you can still call Noel up.
Yeah, I don't know who's got my two though. That's the problem.
Coming up, we turn our attention to a disappointing day at Wimbledon for the Brits and ask the question: do we as a nation put too much pressure on the likes of Jack Draper? That's coming next.
Football fans all have stadiums we love, but do any of us have a pitch we love? It might sound like an odd question, but pitches can be different sizes with big consequences. Why is that? And what are the actual rules behind it? Back when association football started, pitches could be 100 metres wide and 200 metres long. That's longer than Ellen Road. Not the pitch, the stadium. Anyway, UEFA wanted a standard across Europe, which became 105 metres long and 68 metres wide. But some clubs had been rebels, not intentionally, but because of the stadiums. Take Highbury, for example. It was 5 metres shorter and a metre narrower, meaning away sides had a challenge just to adjust. Today, Forest Pitch at the City Ground is a big one, 2 metres wider than others. But the smallest of all? Craven Cottage, just 100 metres long and 65 metres wide. There are a couple of crazy outliers in Europe too, such as Napoli's home ground, the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona, where the pitch is a whopping 110 metres long. So UEFA have their standards, so do the FA, but they give pitches in England some wiggle room. Pitches can be anywhere between 90 and 120 metres long, between 45 and 90 metres wide. Just imagine a pitch that's 120 metres long and 45 wide. Madness. So there you have it. There is a standard size and most teams do generally follow it. But as we all know, size doesn't matter, does it?
5 minutes to 8 o'clock, talkSPORT breakfast with our good friends at Arnold Clark. Build your own car deal online, all with a few clicks. They make buying your next car so easy. Ray Parlour alongside me now. It's British Grand Prix weekend at Silverstone. Around 500,000 people will descend on the track over the weekend, continuing the traditional summer of great sport. McLaren's Lando Norris, George Russell, Mercedes and Team Haas youngster Ollie Behrman are among the Brits looking to make an impression in their home race, while Lewis Hamilton now at Ferrari has won at Silverstone a record 9 times, and there could be rain as well, Ray, which would certainly help Lewis's chances. Team Williams Spaniard Carlos Sainz spoke to talkSPORT reporter John Jackson yesterday and explained why the track is so special to him.
Well, Silverstone for sure, apart from a great racetrack and being the home of motorsport, has always been good to me. I actually remember winning here my first ever single-seater race back in 2010 in Formula BMW. I did here a test in 2013 for Red Bull. That was actually a test that then gave me the drive in the junior team for the next year. And then I won my first ever Formula One race. So you can imagine how special this place is for me.
Yeah, top driver as well. Teo was in yesterday. The boss of McLaren, Zach Brown, we spoke to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, nice guy. Yeah, real nice guy. Speaks
They've
very,
improved,
very well.
Haven't they, McLaren? Oof.
They have done.
They struggled, didn't have?
He didn't have the celebration flags out just yet.
No.
He says, long way to go.
Of course there is, yeah.
And I asked him about the rain. He says, yeah, it looks as if we are going to have showers. And he immediately said, about Max and Lewis, how good they are driving in the rain.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. It's a big factor, isn't it? I mean, you know,
well, Ferrari finished the Austrian well, didn't they?
Yeah.
But McLaren at the moment are brilliant. Two great drivers.
Really good drivers.
And he said to us, they're going to race. Let them race each other.
Yeah. It's amazing how the construction team can go really downhill, can they? And suddenly you can't get the car right and this, that, whatever. And then suddenly Mercedes are brilliant and then they drop off a little bit and then, you know, Ferrari drop off. And it's such a competitive in that car, isn't it? You've got to have the best car, the best... the drivers are so important, of course they are, but the car... You've got to get it ready to go and compete, haven't you? And McLaren have got it right back to where they used to be, really.
Yeah, but
Mansell was with him, McLaren back in the day, wasn't he?
Nigel's going this weekend, he told us, So, thinking ahead, no football at the moment. Well, we've got Chelsea in the Cup, haven't we, in the World Club. But at the same time, we've still got, we've got the rugby coming up, haven't we? We've got Silverstone.
Well, you've got cricket today.
We've got the Eclipse coming up. We've got cricket. We're now on to tennis. Britain's great hope, Jack Draper. He's out. Exited Wimbledon just at the second round stage after losing to experience the Croat, Marin Cilic, who was fantastic with 3-1. Draper conceded afterwards there's still major holes in his grass court game and was asked whether that will improve in years to come.
No, I can. Yeah, I can for sure. I think there's a bit of a misconception, like, just because I'm a 6'4" lefty, like, I must be incredible on grass. I obviously won Stuttgart, but, I haven't had loads of experience on it. I don't think I've played incredibly well on it before. Obviously never gone past the second round here. Some players find it harder than others. I'm obviously very determined to change that and make it a surface that is gonna be great for me. I feel like that's the way with every surface. When you have the mindset of, even though I don't feel comfortable, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it better for me. It usually works. That's what I did on the clay this year. It's just hard, to find that time because we don't have a lot of time to play on grass throughout the year. So.
Yeah, very honest Jack Draper there. It's amazing.
Well, it's a little bit of a worry.
It's amazing the difference between different surfaces, Ray, isn't it?
Unbelievable. I mean, we were talking
Nadal was unbeatable, wasn't he, in the Roland Garros?
And clay, yeah. But we were talking to Nick, weren't we, a couple of weeks ago, weren't we?
Kyrgios,
and he was great company, by the way.
Yeah.
And he was telling about certain surfaces is so important for certain players. And, some people just can't get on with grass. Some people are brilliant on clay.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
By the way, he's Ali's best mate now. Me and Nick had a couple of beers.
Is it?
Yeah, when you see Nick at Wimbledon, we had a couple of beers, me and Nick.
He's the sort of guy you would have a couple of beers with, to be fair. He looked like he could have a good time. He looks like he wants to enjoy himself.
John is now former British tennis #1, Barry Cowan. Barry, morning, Barry.
Morning, Barry.
Yeah, good morning. He always talks honestly, Jack. He's a great listen, and he's so determined. So let's hope he can figure it out. But Cilic was magnificent, wasn't he?
Oh, right away, you're the expert. I'm not, but I thought, wow, I've got to applaud Cilic here. The power he was hitting, and he was hitting that back line all the time. But at times he outpowered Jack, which really surprised me.
Well, when I spoke to you yesterday, it was yesterday. Sometimes when you first week of a Grand Slam, you lose track of the days. But I always thought it was a potential banana skin because Cilic had won that tournament, the Challenger, a couple of weeks ago. He was on form. He's got great grass court pedigree. And Jack's absolutely right. The way he plays, it's more conducive to playing better on a slower hard court or clay courts because he moves better on those surfaces. The ball striking, you're talking about Nadal. You think of Nadal when he's playing on the clay, the ball really kicks up, gets up high. And that's more how Jack likes to play, where Cilic, you could see how flat and early he was hitting the ball. And he was rushing Draper, and he found it difficult to stay with Cilic. I thought once he won the third,
6-1, I thought, here we go.
Yeah, I think we were all thinking that, but Cilic dug in and played magnificently well. I mean, the pressure was off. I mean, so much of it can just be when the pressure's off, you play your best tennis. Because I have seen Cilic a few times wobble. in important moments.
Yeah, Barry, you talking about pressure there. Do you think there's a lot more now? Because Jack going into the tournament, number 4 in the world, everybody's expectation is going up, and and he must feel the pressure a little bit more being at home. Everybody's expected him to get to the latter stages of the tournament, and maybe he felt the pressure as well.
It's a very relevant question, but can I swing it around to saying he expects to make the semi-final. Yeah. He expects to do well. So the pressure is more from Jack himself, and that's what drives him on. And that's why I have no doubt that, he will become an exceptional grass court player. Will he be good enough to be able to win here at Wimbledon? I don't know. Will he be able to? I still feel that his best surfaces will probably be the slower hard courts, or sort of medium pace hard courts like the US Open. I think that he made the semi-finals there last year, so that's his best success so far in the majors.
Well, Barry, Jack departs, but all fingers crossed now for Cam Norrie. What about Mattia Bellucci? What sort of opponent has Cam got?
Well, Bellucci, ironically enough, played Draper at Roland Garros a couple of weeks ago, and the first set was incredible. He's not that tall, but he packs a punch. He comes out, he'll rip serves, he'll play a load of drop shots. He is a fun watch. Now, what he wasn't able to do against Draper was keep it going. And against Norrie on a grass court, as I spoke to you yesterday, Norrie was one of the performances of the week, actually, against Tiafoe. I thought he played terrific tennis. I certainly see Bellucci causing Norrie trouble. But I think as long as Norrie sticks to his game like he did against Tiafoe, very similar actually, Tiafoe and Bellucci, I think that he just stay the course, and he might take 5 or possibly 4 sets, but I'll never rule out Norrie in that long physical battle, because he's like an Iron Man.
Yeah. What about the ladies then? Emma's got a real tough match. Can she come through?
Oh, everything points towards Sabalenka winning. Make it. What you try and do is sort of make a case. How can Emma beat Sabalenka? Sabalenka, I think it's 3 years since she's failed to reach the last 8 of a major. Raducanu obviously has got the home crowd. I do feel the best chance, she has to start well. She has to be brave at the beginning. She has to try and not be bullied by Sabalenka. Easier said than done. And if she can get to 4-all, 5-all, and the pressure sort of ratchets up for Sabalenka. Anyone knows, having watched the Roland Garros final, where it got the better of her there, why can't it get the better of her in if it gets to a tiebreak, playing a Brit at Wimbledon on the centre court? But everything points really for me, logically, although he obviously won the heart, the head says 3-3 to Sabalenka.
Okay, Barry, enjoy today, mate, and sorry from that horrible news from Anfield. Yes, I know you're a big red as well, but Jota will be, the grief, the outpouring of grief, and some of the great texts and emails we've had here, people are devastated, and I'm sure you are, Barry. Barry, enjoy today. Thanks, mate. Right, still to come on talkSPORT Breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. From excavators to skips or cement mixers to pressure washers, Travis Perkins Hire has all your landscaping needs covered.
Now we're going to talk British and Irish Lions. Owen Farrell's ex-teammate Jim Hamilton, a man who won 63 caps for Scotland, will tell us whether Farrell has any chance of stealing that 10 shot from Finn Russell. Next, though, we're going to be asking Ray whether Arsenal are dragging their feet in the transfer market. No striker again just yet. Will they get one? We'll ask Ray Parlour next. That was a look ahead with Travis Perkins Hire.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. It's easy to hire at Travis Perkins with a Travis Perkins trade account.
plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Okay, 10 minutes to 8 o'clock, and there's something I have to bring up. I was having a stroll the other day and discovered that a certain Ray Parlour has joined TikTok. What's this about?
Well, my daughter done that, if I'm being honest. Scarlett, my little one, she went, Dad, I'm going to get you on TikTok. I went, oh, what? What's that? Well, I do know what it is, obviously, but I don't go on it too often. So she started doing it. But it seems a really good site, Al. You been on it, TikTok?
No.
Oh, your kids will be on it. Don't know about that. Yeah, it's supposed to be massive, isn't it, TikTok?
That's the biggest. That's what they say. I think it is the biggest.
I think it's the biggest, isn't it?
I don't use it much, to be honest.
Well, I've done a couple of little ones on it. I was mucking about. You know, we was doing an empty can. How many times you keep it up?
Really?
It's hard, isn't it?
How many did you get?
About 10.
That's not bad.
Well, yeah, I was struggling with 10. Just about got to 10. I didn't do it for too long, but I remember going back in the day when we couldn't go out anywhere, could we? And then mucking about with a glass and catching it on my foot and then putting beer in it and then flicking it up again. That's how bored we all was, weren't we? In that period.
I wasn't.
But TikTok was. What was you doing then? In your back garden?
Done the sportsman.
Well, you couldn't. You couldn't. Weren't allowed out. Yeah, no. You weren't allowed out.
Sports bar. You mean in my annex?
Oh, okay.
Right, back now is in the studio. Max Scott to talk Arsenal or lack of transfers, activity or not.
Well, look, today marks the 3-year anniversary since Arsenal last signed a striker. It was Gabriel Jesus. Now,
was it?
Yeah. 3 years to the day. So far this window, obviously they've got Kepa Arrizabalaga in for $5 million from Chelsea, the keeper. We're expecting an announcement soon on Martin Zubimendi. They're in talks as well with Christian Norgard from Brentford, defender Christian Mosquera from Valencia. They've also been linked to Eberechi Eze, Rodrigo from Madrid, but Ray, still no striker. Are you one of those Arsenal fans that think if you can sort of strengthen, elsewhere in the pitch, then you can still win the title, or do you think, we need to go and get a striker?
No, they definitely need a striker. There's no doubt about that. I think this
is a big goodbye, but he's not a striker.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I'm not going to get too worried at the moment.
Yeah, still early days.
Yeah, of course it is. And as I said before, it's like a game of poker when the transfers. They know, certain clubs know certain clubs are desperate for certain players, which everybody knows Arsenal are desperate for a striker. So it's a game of poker. Who gives him first? Usually, I think, who was it? Sporting Lisbon won 80, and he's saying he's only worth 60, and it's, it end up usually in the middle somewhere.
So the two strikers that Arsenal are linked to are Benjamin Sesko from Leipzig, Victor Gyökeres from Sporting. Just a bit of a breakdown. Sesko got 13 goals, 5 assists last season. Victor Gyökeres got 39 goals, 8 assists. Gyökeres has scored 98 goals in the last 2 seasons. And sometimes I hear, and it baffles me, you hear fans like Arsenal fans, United fans who have also been linked to him, they don't quite like the sound of Gyökeres because he's just been playing in Portugal. Yeah. And I think, well, he's scored the goals. He's done his job.
He's still getting in positions. I know, look, you could argue the defensive units ain't as good. in Portugal. You've got obviously big 3 or 4 teams at the top.
He scored a hat-trick against City in Champions League,
didn't he? Indeed. But I would take both of those. You ain't going to get both. I think Sesko would be more... He's quick, he's strong. I'm not saying Kyrgios isn't, but I think he'd be the one who you could probably coach a little bit more. I mean, Kyrgios knows...
He's the youngest one, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 22, 23, so you can probably coach him a little bit better. But I always look at the end of the window. Ideally, you want the players in as quickly as you can.
Yeah, because,
for pre-season. Yeah, exactly. You've got to get to know their characters.
When are Arsenal back?
They'll be back this week, I should imagine. What's the date now? Yeah, they'll be certainly going back soon. There'll be certain... What we used to do when we go pre-season, if you haven't been involved in any sort of international duties or whatever it is, you'll go back on probably July the 4th, July the 5th, around that sort of time. And the other guys will get a little bit more time. Because Arsene Wenger was very fair like that. He used to always say, well, people do deserve a rest. So some would always meet up in pre-season tour or something like that. So I'm sure some of the players, like who's been involved in England and, you know, it's obviously a lot of tournaments going on, they'll come back a little bit later. But ideally, you want every single player, you want all your business done early in the season. You want it in the pre-season. You want it all in and get people to know each other going into that last game. But it doesn't work like that.
Do you reckon Arsenal can win a title? Let's say they get Eze and Rodrigo. They probably wouldn't, but in a hypothetical world, but they do not get a striker. Can they win the title with reigning champions Liverpool strengthening with likes of Florian Wirtz, etc. City splashing the cash all year.
I still think they need a striker. I think that's, you know, I'll go back to last season. If they had someone like Thierry Henry, who I played with in that team, they would have won the league.
Who, Chelsea?
No, Arsenal.
Well, exactly.
So, you know, they, in the end, Havertz done a decent job, but he's a midfielder. He hasn't got the instinct to be a striker. Alan was a good striker. He had that instinct to get half a yard on a defender. He knows when to make the runs or when to make the run and go back post and stuff. It's just, you know, Ian Wright was a brilliant striker I played with who knew exactly where to be in the right place at the right time.
Feels like there's less of them around nowadays, doesn't it?
Exactly. There's not many number 9s around, and Moreno done a good job when he went up there, but they're still not strikers, are they? Does instinct.
Does Arteta survive the season if you don't win the league or if you don't win anything?
Depends on
if they go close again.
Yeah, it depends on what sort of way you get knocked out.
Liverpool last year, look at the many games they lost. You know, incredible run they had. Arsenal have got.
I think injuries done them a little bit last season.
Yeah, they've got to push them more. But if you know, at the end of the day, there's not great managers out there. There's not too many great ones there. And if they can really push Liverpool, Chelsea, City, they worry me. The goals they're conceding at the moment.
Yeah, you've seen that in Club World Cup.
Oh dear.
It'll be interesting to see how Chelsea does.
It's going to be good, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a great season.
What about Arsenal fans? Do you think though that there'll be a section of them that start to grow weary if they're not challenging by Christmas, for example?
I think so.
Realistically, you know, I think Arteta knows he's under pressure.
Yeah,
of course he is. I mean, every single manager in that league is under pressure. We all know if you're at the bottom, you want to stay in the Premier League because of the money, and that's when they make these big decisions to sack managers. If you're at the top, you want to be in that top 4, top 6, top 8, whatever it's going to be, European football, then you're under pressure. So look, Mikel Arteta knows that, and he just needs now. He's going to be backed by the board. There's no doubt about that. They think he's the right man to take this club forward.
Yeah.
Now, if he can get the right players in, have a little bit of luck with injuries, because I think at vital stages last season, they Saka out, Odegaard got injured and it affected his game a little bit. Gabriel,
the start for 6 games.
He's a shocker.
Under pressure after 6 games.
But suddenly, if they win 4 out of 6 or 4 or 5 out of 6, then
suddenly everyone's talking about them as champions. Yeah.
So they could go either way there, and let's hope they have a good pre-season, because pre-season for me is so important for a player. You know, that is the most important time of the season, really, because if you have a good pre-season, you're in ready to go for the season and your body's ready to go. If you get a couple of injuries to key players in pre-season, which can happen, then you could be on the back foot straight away.
Right, still to come, Adrian Dunham coming up, Jim Hamilton, former Scotland and Sarries lock, Mark Lawrenson on the sad news yesterday, Nick Kyrgios and David Coulthard as we build up to Silverstone. Max, thank you.
Thanks, mate.
It's 2 minutes to 8.
Shin pads are a footballer's best friend, even if players like Jack Grealish do wear such small ones you can barely even see them. But what's the story with shin pads, and are there any rules on how big they should be? It all started with cricket, actually. Cricketers had been wearing shin pads since the 1700s. They'd been introduced not for leg protection, but instead to give batters a strategic advantage. The idea was that batters could put their leg pads in front of the wicket if they missed the ball, preventing them from being bowled out. Obviously, that all changed when the LBW rule came in, but that was the theory behind them. It was thanks to this guy that shin protection made its way over to football. Meet Samuel Widdowson. He was a cricketer and a footballer. He played for Nottingham Forest back in the late 1800s, and he wanted a way to protect his legs from nasty tackles. Apparently, he'd broken his leg in a match against Sheffield United in 1874 and wanted to stop it from happening again. Naturally, his mind drifted to his other favourite sport, where players had been wearing these pads. Story goes, Widdowson cut up his cricket pads, sewed them into his socks and popped them on before taking to the footy pitch. Ta-da! Shin pads. Like all great genius inventors, everyone took the mickey at first. To be fair, he probably looked quite stupid running around with these on. But it's thought his whole Nottingham Forest team then began wearing them from 1887, and the first known use of them in a match was in 1894, in a match between Newcastle and the then Woolwich Arsenal. Eventually, FIFA clocked on that this protection was pretty important for footballers. Multiple studies have shown wearing shin pads clearly reduces the risk of players getting lower leg injuries. And so, in 1990, basically 100 years after Widdowson first put them on, shin pads were made compulsory. It became a part of Law 4 of IFAB. That's the body responsible for setting the laws of the game internationally. But the law doesn't actually specify anything about measurements of shin pads. It just says pads must be made of a suitable material and be of an appropriate size to provide reasonable protection. It's really vague, and players can get away with a lot. A lot of grassroots clubs are choosing to ban micro shin pads for obvious reasons, though, especially after a 15-year-old player from Penistone Church broke his leg while wearing them. Still no change from IFAB, though. That's why Grealish and co can still get away with these ones, which are no bigger than a credit card and which seem to offer little to no protection whatsoever.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark, Alan Brazil and Ray Parlour. Now yesterday, Anfield, as you can imagine, a sombre place yesterday after the tragic news of Jota's passing. Shocking.
Liverpool have win number 100 against Everton. They bring up a century of Merseyside derby victories, courtesy of that goal from Diogo Jota.
The thing with Liverpool is, we're not just a team, he's an honorary Scouser. We've lost one of his own, just heartbreaking. It's not just him, it's his brother as well, his poor family.
It feels like you know him, but you don't know him, if that makes sense. You just want to know, you just want to try and support, let people know that, you know, the family know that everyone in the world's going to be thinking about them.
We've been through a lot as a city, and, you know, we gather ourselves, but you can't prepare for things like this, can you?
No, I live up here now, but I still go to Wolves every week.
still a season ticket holder. We won the championship with him, Ruben Neves, and Nuno. Probably the best team I've seen at Wolverhampton in my lifetime.
Everyone knows what it's like to lose someone. It feels like we've lost one of our own.
The fans just absolutely adored him. If he was injured, we wanted him back. If he was on the pitch, we thought he'd score.
Just a gentleman on the pitch, off the pitch. He donated money to charities, Hillsborough, other charities, the foundation. He done everything he could.
You'll never walk alone. You're always in our hearts. Never forget you. Never forget.
Yeah, outside Anfield yesterday, men, women and children were in tears as they hung scarves from trees and laid football shirts alongside an ever-growing bank of flowers outside Liverpool's main stand. And I'm sure many, many more will be looking to travel to Anfield to pay their respects today. Let's cross live up to Anfield now with talkSPORT's Amelia Beltrao. Amelia, good morning.
Morning, Amelia.
Morning, boys.
Amelia, just scene set for us at the moment. Is there many people around? I'm sure it's a massive colour of red and white. What are you looking at?
Definitely not as many people as there were last night. It's definitely as well a bit of a mood shift. Last night was, as you say, was a very sombre and emotional mood. Today I think everyone's kind of processed what we learnt yesterday, and I think you will see more people come throughout the day as they may want to pay their respects before school or before work or throughout the day. But yesterday it was an emotional day for everyone here involved. As soon as you entered the grounds of Anfield, you felt the atmosphere shift. You immediately felt the effects of how all these people here in Merseyside were feeling. As you say, there were people from the ages of 4 to 84 sharing their upset. I remember I actually consoled an 80-year-old man, and he was visibly and audibly crying, so I had to go and console him. We obviously had crowds playing. There was one particular person who brought out his guitar to play with crowds play, and they played You'll Never Walk Alone. They sung from the bottom of their hearts, really. There was a book of condolence where we saw crowds queuing in their hundreds wanting to pay their respects, and even just what you can see behind me, the tributes behind me, this has grown exponentially since I left here at 8 o'clock last night, and it just goes to show that people want to come and celebrate him just as the man, the human that Diogo Jota was, not necessarily the football stats and the figure he was here at Liverpool.
I would imagine, Amelia, it's not just Liverpool and Portugal scarves either, is it? Many other clubs?
Yep, I saw Man United shirts, Real Madrid, there were a few Everton shirts actually on display. There's a Wolves shirt, as you can imagine. So again, it's just about getting the football community together to sort of get together to try and heal these scars and wounds that after the learnings, the sad news of Diogo's passing.
Amelia, thank you very much. Sea of colours behind Amelia there. Let's crow. We'll bring you updates and interviews from Anfield throughout the day here in talkSPORT, but let's continue to pay tribute to, it sounds this guy, Jota, was just a top guy, not just a great footballer, but someone who watched him in action more than most. A very good morning, talkSPORT's voice of live football, Adrian Durham. Adrian, good morning.
Morning, Aid.
Yeah, morning, Alan. Morning, Ray. It's a very sad day. Yesterday was really hard to contemplate. You couldn't really make sense of what had happened, and today it just feels exactly the same. It's hard to believe what's happened, really.
And Adrian, of course, you were probably there last night. You're over in Switzerland, Portugal against Spain, and a minute's silence, I believe, as well. That must have been
emotional.
Oh God, that must have been horrible.
Yeah, the minute silence turned into applause. We actually were speaking to Portugal fans outside the stadium ahead of the game, and they were paying their own tributes to Diogo Jota with talkSPORT, and it's clearly affected everybody. And you're right, it's not just Liverpool fans, not just Wolves fans, not just Portugal fans. I think this has resonated with everybody who supports any particular club. It hits you like a ton of bricks. You can't really understand it. And then when you try to process it, you can't properly process it, because this was a human being as well as a footballer. And it's somebody that we didn't know, and I have interviewed him and we've seen him on TV, etc. But we did know him. He was in our living rooms. He was on our radios, in our cars. We're hearing commentary and he's playing, he's scoring. We're hearing interviews with him. So we kind of did feel like we knew him. And what you said there is right. He was a top guy. His English was fantastic, by the way. And the 2 Premier League clubs he's been at, I know the people who work at those clubs absolutely loved Diogo Jota because he was never an ounce of trouble. He was always positive, and that's why everybody loved him.
Just about to say that, Aid, there's some brilliant tributes from his ex-players, his ex-teammates, some of his ex-teammates, and it's just become, because we don't know him, I've never played or met him or whatever, but he just comes across as being such an important player for that characters and dressing room area. And you look at like Andy Robertson was unbelievable, and Matt Murray, what he said about when he was at Wolves with him, he comes across a real grounded young man and a real important player for that squad itself, because he didn't always play at Liverpool, but he still played a massive part every day in training, every day, his attitude and all that sort of stuff, and that rubs off on other players, I'm sure it does, and that's why he's got such a great memory from a lot of players who he played with.
Yeah, you know it, and even in this industry, when we're coming away on tours, you're part of a team, and every single member of that team is really important. And when you lose somebody from that team, it's a devastating blow. And I can't imagine how those Liverpool players are feeling today, how they'll come to terms with it, the Portugal players as well. Andy Robertson, I was listening earlier to the show, and his tribute actually really was a very moving one when he said that he called him Diogo Mac Jota because he seemed like he was British. He really was one of the lads. But the point you make there was he didn't always start games, but it was never really a big problem. You never heard, oh, he wants to move or he wants to go, he's causing trouble behind the scenes. This was the ultimate professional footballer. And let's face it, listen, I've got a daughter who's 27. She's coming up 28, same age as Diogo Jota, and he's passed away. And I'm just thinking, how on earth would you cope with it? Let's all remember that this was somebody's father, somebody's husband, somebody's son, and it's one of the saddest football stories I can remember.
Yeah, I agree. Adrian, just on the football side of it, you're out there in Switzerland. Spain absolutely thumped Portugal as well, didn't they?
Oh, they did, without Bonmati as well. And I think that, Spain, we already knew they're my favourites. I think they are going to go on and win it. I think they're truly sensational once they get going. But England have got the better of them in the last year or so. They were 1-0 up in Spain earlier this month, lost it 2-1 after some changes were made. So England can be competitive against Spain, but for me, Spain are the favourites. They've got some brilliant players. And yes, Arsenal beat Barcelona in the Champions League final this year. However, one of Arsenal's best players on the day was Mariano Caldente, one of the Spanish legends. So for me, Spain, if you beat Spain, you're going to win the Euros. For me, it's as simple as that.
And Wales and the Lionesses kick off when?
That's on Saturday, and I think it's the crucial game. It is the big crunch game. France, it's the most difficult game in the group. It's a tough group with the Netherlands in there as well. Wales will up their game against England in the final group game for the Lionesses. But England-France on Saturday here in Zurich is absolutely massive. If England don't win the game, that puts the pressure on for the second game, which is also here in Zurich against the Dutch. So it's going to be a fantastic group. But England have got to get that job done on Saturday against France. That's going to be tough, and it's live on talkSPORT.
Adrian, enjoy. Thank you very much. This morning, talkSPORT's daily podcast, as you would expect, is dedicated to Jota. Tributes from the likes of Danny Murphy, Liverpool Mayor Steve Rotherham, former Wolves keeper Matt Murray, and of course you, the fans. 03717 223344 is the number to get in touch with us. This morning on Breakfast, do you have a story about Diogo? Do you ever meet him, catch his shirt, watch him score an important goal? It just seems Jota was a top guy. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Alan Brazil, and Ray Parlour.
plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Minutes past 8. You're moving a bit. Did a bit of treatment?
I just said to you, didn't I? How's your back these days? And you said, yeah.
I'm
some days good, some days bad. But I know I done it's called a rotator, Al, in your shoulder.
Yeah.
And I done it quite a while ago, probably 2 months. But it's just niggly. I can still play golf, I still do a little bit of exercise and whatever. But I went down to see my old physio, Colin Lewin.
Ah,
He's
right.
brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. He's got the Lewin physio thing down in Hainault. So I went down there.
I see. Heathrow, isn't it?
Hainault? No.
Oh, no, it's Essex. What am I talking about?
And do you know what? It was like the old days. You know, when you get the right into the back.
Oh,
it's lovely. No,
Oh, really?
I like that. When you get the proper pressure point, bang, and it really helped me out, you see, Al, because I got 36 points. So
hello.
It's very important for my golf that I'll need to get it sorted out. But you know, it was brilliant to have that real good treatment.
It's nice
again.
when you know someone you can trust.
He was so lucky because, you know, he's got his little clinic now and he's doing really well. Gary's involved as well, Gary Lewin.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's physio for the ladies team now, Arsenal.
Is he? Right.
But it's a really good setup down there. But it's nice to know exactly what you just said, because he's done it for so many years.
Trust is very important.
Yeah, and he knows exactly what he's doing, exactly what you're looking at, exactly what you've got to do, like exercises going forward, to manage it more than get it better quickly, just to manage it. So, no, it's nice to see him, and he certainly helped me golf game out yesterday, definitely.
Okie dokie. Chelsea are back in Club World Cup action at 2 a.m. tonight. Live on talkSPORT if you're still awake at that time. Ray, will you be running back? Oh no, you're heading.
I'll be sound asleep at 2 a.m.
Oh, yeah, because you're up early tomorrow, aren't you?
Yeah, well, early-ish, but it's that's the only problem when I always remember the World Cup in where was it, Korea way, wasn't it? And I was in Las Vegas at the time, 2002, I think it was, that World Cup. And I remember that all the lads, I'm with all the lads, and do you know what? The game kicked off, England games kicked off about 3 a.m. But you can't miss it, can you?
No.
So what'd you do? What was your dilemma? What would you do? What would you do if we had a little curfew where we all went to bed at 8 o'clock?
Oh, no, I can't do that. I've got to
We went to bed at 8. And then we got up at midnight.
Yeah.
And then we went out and carried on, kicked on as long as we could.
I'd probably have a nap, midday, and then kick on right through.
Would you?
Yeah.
Till what time? 6 o'clock, 5, 6 o'clock?
See how I felt.
You're a machine, aren't you?
Right, if Chelsea beat Palmeiras, then they'll play either Fluminense or the conquerors of Manchester City, Al Hilal. Now, they're half decent, aren't they?
Yeah.
For a place in the final. And just this week, they welcomed a new face to the squad. It's yet another player from Brighton. This time, João Pedro, £50 million. I think so.
Very good.
If Chelsea win it, really, would you say, well, I know what the fans are going to say, we're the best club in the world, but...
Well, it's still a competition to win, isn't it? Some good teams in it. And, you know, the prize money is fantastic for the club, isn't it?
It's 110 million or
something? 100
something?
million odd, isn't it? So it's well worth it for the club's point of view.
If Chelsea go on and win it, right, it's great money, but I'll guarantee you, Ray, as soon as they have a bit of a blip, January, February, March, they'll blame it on this.
Yeah, I should imagine so. But it's a tournament that they played in. So any tournament you play in, Al, you agreed to play in, you've got to, if you win it, great. Fantastic. It's no good getting knocked out early doors or whatever.
I'm not sure they can make so many changes now, you know, because this is getting to the money part of the tournament.
This is, you usually get to the better teams now. So, look, I've not seen a lot of it, if I'm being honest, Al, of it, because of the times of the games. Unless you're a massive Chelsea fan, you're only going to stay up. Other support. If a game is at 7 o'clock at night, you know, if I don't support Chelsea, I'll still watch it, but not 2 a.m.
No,
that's the difference.
Chelsea Palmeiras for a place in the Club World Cup semi-finals, live on talkSPORT at 2 a.m. tonight. Okay, it's not just cricket, it's not just Wimbledon, you know, it's not just Grand Prix racing. We are talking Sandown. What a race we have for you this weekend. Time now for the latest odds with Coral and Simon Clare.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. Celebrating 50 years of the Coral Eclipse. Oh, that's golden. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
8:23, Simon Clare. Good morning, Simon.
Morning, Simon.
Good morning, guys. Listen, great show this morning covering the awful news about Diego Jota. So I just wanted to say, listen, I think you've been dealing with it beautifully, guys. It's just awful.
Awful,
you know, there's nothing more really to say beyond, you know, expressing all thoughts with family and friends.
I remember I was going to bring it up, but I will now. And I remember going for just a night out with Eric Gates at Ipswich, and there's another couple went out, and the young kid, what a future he had. He was at England youth under 21, and he was learning to drive, and they let him drive the car back. You know, it all hit a bend, all went wrong, and we woke up the next morning, got to the football ground, he was gone. You know, I just could not believe it. Every time I pass that spot now, I think of him. It's just horrible. And then when I heard that news just in 9:30, I'm like, what? Anyway, God, the last hour we're going to pay some great tributes. A lot of people trying to come through. Simon, on a positive note now. Are we going to get a bit of rain down at Sandown? Will the ground ease slightly? Because it's got to be fast.
It is. I mean, Andrew Cooper, the clerk, of course, has done a great job keeping the taps on effectively to make sure it's safe ground. And I think we've got, it's a huge day for Coral tomorrow, celebrating 50 years of sponsoring the Coral Eclipse. You know, we've even now got a hyphen between Coral and Eclipse, which is unique, I think, in sponsorships. We boosted the prize money to £1 million, and we have now got the final field of 6. And it's a good field, you know. We've got 2 older horses, Ombudsman and Sozi, who are terrific. And we've got some wonderful 3-year-olds with the 2,000 Guineas winner, Ruling Court, the French Derby winner, Camille Pizarro, and Delacroix, who was favourite for the Derby, disappointed, but Ryan Moore
special,
is riding him.
Yeah. Sozi really intrigues me, Simon. I was saying to John Hills and Steve-O about this race. You know, Ombudsman was so good for the Goslings at Royal Ascot, but this French horse, André Fab, long time since he's won this race, but he clearly thinks this has a great chance.
Yeah, absolutely. He's won 2 Group 1s. You know, he's a very, very good French horse. And, you know, this is the time when the older horses take on the classic generation, the 3-year-olds. And in Ombudsman, who was so impressive at Ascot, and Sosi from France, you've got 2 great older horses. And then you've got 4 very good 3-year-olds running against them. So I think it's set up beautifully, really. And it'll be interesting to see where the 3-year-olds stack up. But I'd love to see Sosi win, to be honest. To see an Andre Fabre trained horse winning the 50th running of our sponsorship would be brilliant.
Harmy, who loves his cricket, we know, has said, "Oh, look, they've still got a chance, England." But how do you see it, Simon? What's the odds on the England v India? India were brilliant yesterday, wasn't they? And but Harmy's still got a sneaky little feeling they could go and win it, or maybe even get the draw.
Yeah, I was at lunch yesterday actually at Lord's for the Carbine Club with people like Nick Luck were there. William Haggis was there. He was announced as a new member of the Carbine Club. We had Alex Stewart and Mark Rambercash on the panel with Jennifer Adler talking brilliantly about, well, Alex Stewart saying he hates the word baseball, but he loves the way England play, with that sort of intense and positivity. And only England could still be 8-1 to win a test match when they're 77 for 3 chasing 567, which says everything about what they can do. The draw's 9-4. India are 8-15 to win this match now. In terms of where England might get to, we're going 5-6, 364 or less, 5-6, 365 or more. That still seems a long way to get to at 77 for 3 overnight.
Yeah.
But if anyone can, England can. So I think if they can get within a couple of hundred, you never know. But I think even Harmy maybe being a bit optimistic.
Simon, two others, please. Can we do Silverstone? It looks like McLaren. We spoke to Zach Brown yesterday. He's not counting his chickens yet, but they're strong, aren't they?
They are amazing, and it's really the great thing is the battle between Lando and Oscar Piastri. I mean, Lando is 6-4 to win the British Grand Prix. Piastri 7-4. Verstappen's always on the premises at 9-2. Then George Russell, who's got a race win, who's named this season, he's 8-1. So yeah, the British Grand Prix.
And the rain could come, Simon. The rain. I think there's rain expected up there over the weekend.
Well,
so you got to look at Lewis and you got to look at Max as well.
Yeah, Lewis is a 16-1 chance. The rain, it's funny, we know what rain can do to Grand Prix. It opens up considerably. So that'll be great. We've got the Lions against the Warriors tomorrow. I know that, they should win. That's a 38-point handicap start. We've got the Brits in action today. Raducanu, who's 11-4 to beat Sabalenka, who's 1-4, and Cam Norrie and Sonny Cartel. They're both favourites to win their matches. So, it's an awful lot of great sport wrapped around our big day at Sandown.
Yeah, well, enjoy, Simon. I look forward to it. In fact, we might have a runner tomorrow.
You have Manican. You got in sprint, the Coral Charge.
And he'll be a lot, is it the first race? He'll be a lot better for it as well.
Yeah, very fast. It'll be very fast ground, uphill. Yeah, he ran quite well at Ascot. It wasn't too bad, was it, for his first
Because he had a long time off, so I expect him to strip a lot fitter, and wouldn't surprise me if he runs a big race, Simon.
Well, I can't believe you're not coming down to see him and see us.
I know. Oh,
his diary's too full, Simon.
Thank you for the champagne, by the way. Very kind.
Oh, good. No, you like that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Simon, have a great day, mate.
Enjoyed it.
Cheers, Simon.
Simon Clare from Coral. Big day. If you've nothing on tomorrow, head down to Sandown. It'll be brilliant. That was a look at the latest odds. All thanks to good friends at Coral. 18+ gambleaware.org. Right, talking of Formula 1, we have David Coulthard coming up a little bit later on as well. So plenty to come on the Sports Breakfast. It's 8:28.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. Celebrating 50 years of the Coral Eclipse. Oh, that's golden. 18+ gambleaware.org.
basketballs are red, baseballs are white, American footballs are brown, and tennis balls are yellow. We don't even think about it really, but the story behind the tennis ball is actually quite interesting and even involves Sir David Attenborough. I know, here's the tale. Tennis has its roots in 12th century France when people used to make balls from all sorts. Cork, wool, chalk, animal fur and even human hair. Uniformity was found centuries later when people started making balls out of something called vulcanized rubber, invented in the US. But the balls kept on breaking, so a British lawyer, who also loved tennis, suggested they put a flannel covering on the outside, and thus the tennis ball as we know it was born. One problem, it was either white or black. And when the controller of BBC Two, Sir David Attenborough, decided Wimbledon would be shown in colour on the BBC in 1967, no one could actually see the balls on telly. So the International Tennis Federation went away and created a new colour called Optic Yellow, which would show up without the need for a 4K LED display. Not that anyone had that in the 1960s, of course. Since then, all tennis balls have been covered in that material and have their trademark colour for that exact reason. Amateur tennis players and dogs worldwide are forever grateful. You could say the ITF aced it.
Alvin here with us, with Ronnie and I, right through to 10 o'clock, taking your calls, 08717 223344, your texts and emails. Travel next. Jaffa cake in on? I was wondering what was going on.
You've had a couple of biscuits this morning, haven't you?
Just one. I've had one.
Oh,
Get
well,
it
that's
right.
good. That's good.
There's a sweet story in the Sun this morning. Cake row at Biscuit Museum. This is ridiculous. Wait to hear this. Biscuit Museum chiefs were forced to halt an exhibit. Yeah, an exhibit on Jaffa cakes. Right. This was after McVitie's complained that they're not biscuits. Can you believe that? The display, dedicated to the spongy orange tinge treats, opened at a South London attraction in late June. But McVitie's wrote a letter insisting that they are in fact cakes. McVitie's went on to say, it's nothing personal. Ray, Jaffa cake? I think it's a biscuit, mate.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, it's a clue in what they're called. Jaffa cake.
No, but a cake is a sponge or a...
well, it is quite spongy, isn't it, Jaffa cake?
Yeah, but they're tiny.
They're not like you just ate. What did you have? Digestive?
Yeah.
Which is a bit more proper, harder.
Biscuit.
Yeah, biscuit. They're a lot more spongy, aren't they?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Honestly,
I don't eat them anyway, so I'm not really bothered with a biscuit or a cake.
You're only vices, peanuts.
I'm savoury, yeah. Like crisp and peanuts and all that sort of stuff.
This is talkSPORT Breakfast with the Arnold Clark app. Buy a car and opt into Arnold Clark Rewards to enjoy access to great giveaways and everyday perks. Ray alongside me now. The British and Irish Lions back in action tomorrow morning, 11 a.m, live and exclusive here on talkSPORT. In the fourth warm-up match of the Summers Tour, let's look ahead to it now with Tenor Men.
Qatar Airways Lions Tour Roundup on talkSPORT with coverage sponsored by Tenor Men. Show male urine leakage the red card and keep control. Find out more at tenormen.co.uk.
Yeah, the New South Wales Warriors are the opponents in Sydney, and all the talk going into the game is around, well, Owen Farrell's call-up by father and head coach Andy as a replacement for injured Elliot Daly. Very unlucky Daly. Former England head coach Eddie Jones knows Owen very well from the 7 years together at Twickenham. Jones joined talkSPORT yesterday and said his call-up can only be a good thing.
Well, I think if you just look at the facts about Alan, he's played over 100 tests. I think he's the second highest point scorer behind Wilkinson, which is not a bad rap. And he's won everything bar a World Cup. So he's a player that's played in winning teams. He's an outstanding competitor. And I think what he'll bring to the Lions is just that little bit more depth to their side. They've got Finn Russell, who's probably going to start at 10, and then the young guy, Finn Smith from England's, a really promising young player, and he's adapting well to the higher level of the game. But Owen will be a pretty handy third-string player. Come on and kick goals at above 80%. He's got a huge competitive spirit.
There you go, Eddie Jones on Owen Farrell. Delighted to say we're now joined live in the studio by a man who won 65 Scottish caps and knows Owen very well from the time together at Sarries. A member of our team for the Lions too. It's a very good morning, Jim Hamilton. Jim, morning.
Morning, Jim.
Good morning. Great to be here. Big fan of the show.
We thought this might happen, didn't we? We thought there was an outside squeak that Owen could get a call up from his dad.
Yeah, there's been a few whispers in the lead up, and Owen's been injured and he's been playing in France and not played a lot of rugby, but it's Owen Farrell, and whether or not Andy likes to admit it, he clearly loves his son. He never really says that, but it's undeniable his talent, and his divided opinion. That happened to him when he was captain of England and stepped down from the role after the World Cup. And it's been a tough, humbling 12, 18 months for Owen, and from a kind of personal point of view, but also like a fan's point of view of the Lions, you've got a proven performer, you've got a warrior, and you've got a guy that's really hungry, and he's a quality operator, as we know.
He can tackle as well, Jim, can't he?
Is there for his experience, Jim? Or has he got a real good chance of maybe starting in the test?
I wouldn't say if the first test was tomorrow, I don't think he'd be in the 23, but he's an unbelievable tackler. I think there's one thing that I've seen with the British and Irish Lions, and I don't want to use the word soft, but I'd say there's a niceness around this squad, and you think you've had the great Lawrence Dallaglio in the studio before, and you think of the icons like Martin Johnson and Johnny Wilkinson, like born leaders at the very highest level. And I think when I've seen the Lions, and it's easy to judge them when they play two warm-up games, but that game against Argentina, they're maybe lacking a little bit of leadership. In Owen Farrell, you get everything, but you get leadership on top.
Yeah, you must be delighted the way Finn's playing at the moment. Finn Russell, he's that last game. I thought he was actually fantastic with the ball in hand.
Yeah, he's world class, and but there's been a few question marks over Finn and whether or not he fits into an Andy Farrell Ireland style strategy, which will make up the backbone of the Lions squad. But he's a world-class talent. You've seen what he's done for Scotland, won the league with Bath this year, and he'll be the man that wears the 10 jersey for sure.
Sorry, Ray, I was going to say, so far, we started a wee bit slow in the two warm-up games. Like Argentina are a good side. People were surprised at that, and I'm like, hold on a minute. Argentina give anyone on a game now, don't they?
Yeah, fifth best team in the world. Like, they've beaten all the big teams in the last year. They beat New Zealand, South Africa, Australia. So they're a really good team. And then it's hard to judge, isn't it? Because then they go to Australia and they play two warm-up games, if you want to call it that, against quite average opposition. So I think where rugby is now, the contact element, the fact that we've already lost two players on the tour, one player before the tour even started, is you just want to get down to the test matches now.
Yeah, Jim, I've got to ask you about Henry Pollock, because he's cockiness, he's full of himself at the moment. Will the Aussies target him?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Bring him back down to earth.
Yeah, of course he will. And look, he's 20 years old. He's a young kid. And take away the circus and the fact that everyone's speaking about him, which is brilliant for the game. Like, he's a wicked talent, and everything that's been put in front of him, he's delivered. So you're looking for a point of difference. Everything I hear, Andy Farrell loves him, but he's delivered in every single moment he's got. I predict he'll be on the bench for the tests. And he'll come on and make a big difference for them.
Sick for Elliot Daly. He's got to be gutted, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, horrible, yeah. And breaking your arm, and Thomas Williams tearing your hamstring. And it's tough, right? You get down there and you look at test match intensity, and I know that these aren't test match intensity, but they're playing in that way, and there's probably going to be a couple more injuries as well, and unfortunately that is part and parcel of the game of rugby. But for Elliot, I obviously feel devastated for.
And has the Aussies rested a few of their key players?
Yeah, they have. Is
that out of order or not?
Well, you don't want to lose them. That's the thing. It's a contact sport. It's a physical sport. And, you know, Australia aren't littered with world-class talent. They've got great talent and they've got a few world-class players within their ranks. They want to win this series. It's so important. They've got the World Cup there in another 2 years' time and they want to put a marker down. And they've got one game against Fiji, which is going to be incredibly tough.
Why would you take on Fiji ahead of 3 tests?
That's crazy for me. That's crazy.
Big guys.
Yeah. They'll be battle hardened, maybe that's what they think. But they've just got that one test against Fiji, where the Lions have got another 2 before they.
Is that positive? Number 2, is that better preparation, or is it?
Well, it just comes down now to combinations because you know, as we know, you'll know the British and Irish Lions, 4 teams coming together, and it's all about combinations. Like Finn Russell, Jameson Gibson Park, they'll start 9 and 10. They need a bit of time in the saddle. There's talk about who's going to be playing in the centre. The line-out's been a bit of an issue, so they need to get that right with the hooker and the jumpers and all these little intricacies in the game. But you've got to try and avoid injury, which is really difficult, right? If you want to play.
How do you see the series going? Some people are saying the Lions will win 3-0.
I think it will be tougher than your average casual fan thinks. Australia are a lot better now. They're really physical, well coached, and it means a lot to them. You know, their second test in Melbourne, there's going to be 110,000 people in the stadium.
Brilliant.
They're not going to roll over. But I think the Lions will win, but it won't be as easy as people have maybe said before.
And how's your podcast, Jim?
Yeah, it's going all right.
Going well?
Yeah, the Big Jim Show, but it's not about me. So Ali said that he was going to come on soon. We keep going back and forth.
The Big Jim Show. I can see why it's called the Big Jim Show.
I know.
Don't take any notice of what McCoy says.
I know. He keeps dropping me like voice notes. I'm coming on.
No. Yeah, there he was. He was whipping it up with Nick Kyrgios the other day at Wimbledon.
Yes.
You know, that's different. I'll come. All right, Nick. I'll pop down to Wimbledon to see a few beers, but he's murdered, honestly.
Yeah, telling Nick how to play tennis.
I know
how to behave.
What about just on Scotland? Are we in a good place at the moment?
We're in a good place, yeah. And chatting to Gregor Townsend, they're down in the Southern Hemisphere. They've got the New Zealand Maoris, and then they've got a game against Fiji and Samoa. So they've got a tough tour in the shadows of the Lions. But Scotland, we're good. You know, Gregor Townsend, we've got some really good players. We've got some world class players, and we've seen that as well with the Lions. We've got a lot of work to do, as you know, Alan. We're always battling when it comes to rugby and batting above probably how good we should be, but we're doing well.
Yeah, brilliant. Listen, have a great next few weeks coming up. It's going to be fantastic, and good luck. It's great to see you in here again. Thanks
for having me. Cheers, lads. Thanks
brilliant,
a lot.
well done. Coverage begins. Don't forget, 10 a.m. tomorrow as the Lions take on the New South Wales Waratahs in beautiful Sydney. Kick off 11 a.m. And don't forget, you can get your Lions fix every day on talkSPORT 2 from 10 a.m. with daily shows Lions Uncaged, host by Alfie Reynolds and former England and London Irish wide man Topsy Ojo. Every show goes on the talkSPORT app as a podcast. That was thanks to Tenor Men.
Qatar Airways Lions Tour Roundup on talkSPORT with coverage sponsored by Tenor Men. Show male urine leakage the red card and keep control. Find out more at tenormen.co.uk.
Right, quick one, Ray. Newcastle are going to make another bid for Elanga. It looks around £60 million. What about that?
Well, they had a good season last year. Really, really top class at Forest. I think they shocked everyone last year, didn't they, Forest? Yeah. And fair play to them. They play so well. The bigger teams, they sat back and and City Ground was rocking. I was really gutted that they didn't get in that top 4 because it would have been a great for other clubs gives other people hope.
Yeah,
because you know what it's like. You expect Liverpool's, Arsenal's maybe now. Man City going to be stronger, Chelsea, but it was an opportunity. But it's still in the Conference League, the cup. And look at Chelsea's celebrations.
Would you not try and keep Elanga?
Well, again, it goes down to the player really as well. How's he thinking? I want to move to Newcastle. If behind the scenes, you know, the players really have all the power. It's all about the club. Then, if they do want to leave or they do want to go, then it's how much money can we get for them, and that's where the clubs, and then they have to reinvest. But he had a really good season. Jack Grealish is going a bit quiet. I don't know what's going to happen with him.
Gabby, I spoke to Gabby privately and he said, I've no idea.
Yeah, it's another one because at one stage Newcastle were linked with him, weren't they? Maybe Jack Grealish on that left hand, but Elanga's a similar. He's a winger. Yeah. It's a different sort of player because he'll come inside, and but I think it will hot up very soon, the transfer window, and you see once a couple of signings are made, And it's like a monopoly, you know, oh, I'm going to buy someone now, and it's a dominoes effect.
Yeah.
It starts moving other deals in different clubs.
Okay, thanks to Big Jim Hamilton there, former Scotland and Sarries lock, of course. Still to come on talkSPORT Breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarks Kitchens and Joinery. Get trade prices on kitchens to suit all styles and budgets at Benchmarks.
Now, 2022 Wimbledon runner-up Nick Kyrgios joins us 9:15 and will explain what went wrong for Jack Draper and whether the pressure from the British press was too much. We get more on Silverstone with former British racing driver top man David Coulthard and whether or not Max Verstappen could be a Mercedes driver. That was a look ahead with Benchmark. Stay with us, please.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarks Kitchens and Joinery. All our Benchmarks kitchen doors come with a 5-year guarantee. Terms and conditions apply.
Plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Minutes to 9 o'clock. Now, the back pages this morning are all focused on, well, tragic news. It came to us yesterday, the passing of Liverpool Diogo Jota at the age of just 28. Horrendous. Here's talkSPORT's Max Scott with how the world had reacted to a truly horrible moment in the world of sport.
Diego Jota passed away yesterday, aged just 28, along with his brother Andre Silva. And both the front and back pages are awash with reaction and tributes to the lad from Portugal. The back page of the Times leads with the headline, "The Day Football United in Devastation and Disbelief." Paul Joyce writes of seeing Everton, Rangers and Manchester United fans all laying scarves and letters of tribute. Among those mourning was Wolves season ticket holder Steve Worley and his wife Louise. They laid a single yellow rose, aptly named Molineux, at the scene outside Anfield, which had become a shrine to their former striker who joined Liverpool in 2020. In the Mail, Ollie Holt reflects upon a gifted talent, writing he was a modest, thoughtful man and wonderfully intelligent footballer who played the game with joy and flair and an utter absence of spite that made him stand out amid the look-at-me hurly-burly of the modern game. But beyond the player who went from winning promotion in the Championship with Wolves to winning Liverpool's 20th title, there's a beloved son, father and husband. And in the Mirror, Andy Dunn reminds us of that human tragedy in all of this, writing, "There are no words for the depth of awfulness and sorrow, only thoughts for his family, whose grief is unimaginable. Everyone here at talkSPORT offers our sincerest condolences to the family and friends of Diogo and his brother Andre."
Yeah, Max Scott, there's a great picture, Ray. Don't know if you had a chance to see it at the back page of the Mail this morning. Jota just looking out the tunnel at Anfield. That's a belter.
Famous number 20.
Absolute belter. talkSPORT's Max Scott there, our station, been filled over the last 24 hours with compassionate tributes to a footballer who clearly captured the hearts of so many. Turab, the Liverpool fan, called the show and had this to say.
He wears the 20 and we just won 20. So I don't know, me personally, I don't know if this is possible. I don't know, we don't retire shirts anymore, but I just feel like as a club, it should be taken into consideration.
03717223344 is the number to call. He was not only a Liverpool and Portugal star, but also beloved at Wolves. Paul's a Wolves fan. Let's say a very good morning. Morning, Paul. Tragic news, Paul.
Morning, Paul.
Good morning to you both. It's first time with you two, but I'm a regular on a Saturday usually. Let's just put things in context. It's a brother, a son, an uncle, as well as a decent human being. One experience I had at the end of season after the championship at Telford Conference Centre, where everybody was mingling with everybody, and I approached the table where Diego was. And for a player to stand up and shake a member of the public's hand as he did with me, that's just humbling for the person he is. And let's just not take anything out of context there. At the end of the day, he was a very, very mellow human being. In all his interviews, he was well presented. And like you say, he's unlike a lot of modern-day footballers. But on the pitch, I don't think we'd ever seen a left-sided attacking midfielder, not in my era anyway. I know the days of, the Dave Wagstaffs, and then we had the light of Dave Thomas, who in my opinion was very good. But Jota could turn a game. He could turn a game in an instance. He came when he played against Man U in the quarter-final. Was struggling to hang on at 1-0 and then bang, and it was an explosive goal. And then, the game against City where we went 2-0 down, Ederson caught him and they was down to 10 men. He had an influential part in that game. And then not forgetting the 11-minute hat-trick against Biscuit in the Europa League, and he came off the bench for that.
Amazing.
And to lose it, not only just a professional footballer, I sat in my office yesterday and I'd got a meeting to go to. My boss walked in and I was crying. I'm a 59-year-old, been a season ticket at the Molineux for over 50 years. And, we'll never... There's players come and go, but there's certain players who touch people's hearts.
Yeah.
And from what you can see at Liverpool and what you can see outside the Molineux, which I will go up there later today. So, on behalf of every fan of probably every club worldwide, it's just a sad day.
No, you're not.
Absolutely.
Well done, Paul. You're
very good, Paul.
Danny's a Liverpool fan, wants to tell us what Jota meant to him. Danny, morning.
Morning, Danny.
Morning, how are you guys doing?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, when the news, before the news started breaking yesterday, someone shared something about it, and I thought, no, it's got to be fake news. Usually them things were, but to our horror, it wasn't. And I think shock at first, and then just total sadness the rest of the day. It still feels now like you've lost a part of your family, even though you didn't know the guy. I've never met the guy. Yeah. And I just wish I could have went down to Anfield yesterday to pay my respects, but unfortunately I live in West Yorkshire and work there. But I know my late friend who died last year, Irene. She was a big Liverpool fan. Used to watch every game with her. I know she would have been the first one at the gates of heaven, waiting to greet Jota. And you try and think of things like that just to try and lift yourself a bit. But I just feel so much for his family as well. His mum's lost 2 sons. His wife and his children have lost their dads, their friends of,
It's horrible. Yeah.
Being a father myself, it's so difficult.
Yeah, Danny, thank you. It's I'll never forget that when the news broke about 9:30. I was like, what?
No, exactly.
I felt, Gabby said it, he felt sick, I felt sick.
Yeah, no, you do.
Matt Lawrence is going to join us in the next hour. We'll finish this hour with this text from Matt. This is Matt. He says, I'm a Villa fan, but Jota's death rocked me to the core. What a waste. What heartbreak for the families involved. talkSPORT have done his memory proud. Well done all. In a sad time, we all need to take a step back and think, make the most of what we've got. That's Steve earlier on. More thoughts on Jota with Matt Lawrence coming next.
News of Diogo Jota's death has prompted an outpouring of grief in Liverpool and around the world. As the day goes on, we're seeing more tributes from his teammates. Alexis McAllister says he can't believe it, adding, I will always remember your smiles, your anger, your intelligence, your companionship, and everything that made you a person. Darwin Núñez says there are no words of comfort for so much pain, and his former manager Jurgen Klopp says, this is a moment where I struggle. There must be a bigger purpose, but I can't see it. talkSPORT's Stuart Pearce has shared his similar experience from his time at Manchester City.
Mark Vivian Foey was one of our players and lost his life on a football pitch. And the impact that had around the football club, in the dressing room, with teammates. It is just immense.
Liverpool legend Danny Murphy expressed his sorrow at the news.
Heartbreaking. I was shocked, like all of us. We all love football, Jim, don't we? We all have a passion for it, whether winning, losing, who our team should sign. All seems to become a bit irrelevant. It puts things in perspective when you hear news like this. It's just absolutely heartbreaking for everybody concerned.
Gareth Roberts from Liverpool supporters group The Spirit of Shankly says Jota's effort and spirit endeared him to the Anfield faithful.
I think you could see that in the fact that, you know, his song was one of the ones that was sung the loudest and the longest every week on the cop. And that was because there was a bond there. That's because we saw something in him that, you know, was our spirit fed back to us almost.
But Jota didn't just make a mark at Liverpool, winning the FA Cup, League Cup and most recently the Premier League. He was much loved at Wolves, where he went from securing promotion from the Championship to playing in Europe with them. Former Wolves keeper Matt Mills remembers not just the player, but the man that he was.
I just looked on my phone there. I've got a picture of him with my little boy and his mates. I was outside Molineux. They'd just beaten Wolves. He saw me, and he hadn't seen me since he left. Comes over, takes time with my little boys and his mates, has photos, and that's a measure of the guy. He was an amazing person.
You can read all the tributes pouring in for Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva on our live blog at talksport.com.
Coming up to 9:05, Ray Parlour alongside me now. Yesterday we learned the devastating news regarding the tragic passing of Liverpool star Jota and his brother, who lost their lives in a car accident in Spain. The tributes flooded in throughout yesterday from the world of football, who were in complete disbelief.
And Diogo Jota puts them in front. It's the first goal of the Arne Slot era.
Heartbreaking. I was shocked, like all of us.
You do become attached to players. You do feel like, you know, they're part of you.
Everyone knows what it's like to lose someone. It feels like we've lost one of our own.
These players mean something to people, and they become icons. And to see his life cut so short is just horrible.
One of the reasons why Liverpool wanted to bring him from Wolves, because they knew he was a good character.
Surely now Wolverhampton Wanderers are going through to the semi-final. A counter-attacking goal from Diego Jota.
Without a doubt, that's my greatest memory, and he was the one who gave me that memory. So
he was one of the greatest players that I've seen play for Wolves.
I had the pleasure a few times being around the training ground, talking to him, listening about his career, how he was, and he's just really, really humble. The Wolves fans loved him.
Someone I had the opportunity of meeting twice, so kind, had time for everyone. He was a really good human being.
The public, of the Prime Minister, everybody in Portugal is really, really shocked and devastated
what had happened.
His song was one of the ones that was sung the loudest and the longest every week on the cop.
You know, there'll come a time when Liverpool return to Anfield and the fans sing You'll Never Walk Alone, and they will sing it for him.
He was our number 20, and we won our 20th league title this year. And it's been mentioned, but I implore the club to retire that shirt now. I think it'd be the right thing to do, and I'm sure the club will do it.
You'll never walk alone. You're always in our hearts. Never forget you. Never forget.
Yes, Football United in devastation and disbelief is one of the headlines of the papers this morning, and that's right, a player who was adored on the pitch but loved even more off it. Teammate Andy Robertson, who attended Jota's his wedding just 2 weeks ago, posted on social media, "I can't believe we're saying goodbye, it's too soon, and it hurts so much." He then says, "But thank you for being in my life, mate, and for making it better." He added he was the most British foreign player ever and often called him Diogo Jota. That's Andy Robertson, Jota. Former Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp says he's heartbroken after hearing the news. Jota had been brought to Liverpool under Jurgen's management. Klopp reacted to the tragic news on Instagram, paying tribute to a great friend and a fantastic player. He says, "This is a moment where I struggle. There must be a bigger purpose, but I can't see it." Let's get more on a player who clearly captured the hearts of so many with Liverpool legend. Mark Lawrenson joins us. Mark, a very good morning.
Morning, Mark.
Morning, guys.
Oh, Mark, more tragedy for Merseyside, for Liverpool. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, just those 11 days. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Married his sweetheart, and you see the pictures of the wedding, and obviously to talk about them looking happy, they look absolutely fantastic. And then what happened in the last couple of days, it's just, you just never ever know. What I will say about him, as well as a player that I don't think too many people have said before, he was unbelievable at getting space in the box. He was the best I've seen for a long time. And you know, you'd watch them play, and you wouldn't you think, where's Jota? Where is he? And all of a sudden, the ball came to him. He was in the box, little touch, and he finished. But it is just so sad. It really is.
Yeah, Mark, it's just one of them sort of characters that, look, we didn't know him as a character and a person, but he always done his best he could, didn't he? He didn't always play every game, which is, you know, we all know Liverpool is very competitive, but he never caused a problem. He probably got on with his training. He seems like he was such a great character for the dressing room area, day to day. You've been in great sides yourself, Mark. You need that. Players like Diego, and it's a sort of situation where whenever he come on playing for Liverpool, he give his all. Always seemed to nick a goal when he had to, and that's why he had that chant. And as people said there, that was one of the biggest chants at Anfield on the Kop.
Yeah, well, I would call him a 100%er.
Yeah,
which we used to do in our day. If you were a top player, and you know the talk was about you, just go 100%er. No doubt about it. And I mean, when he came to Wolves, I think obviously it was a little bit of a gamble because he hadn't played abroad before, and they weren't quite sure how he was going to settle. And apparently, within a couple of weeks, he was one of the boys. And you know yourself, you know when you're in that dressing room, look around, you know, and you for a big game, and you're looking at people you can count on. He was one of those, and you know. As I said to you, the goals he scored loads of goals with his head. He must only be about 5'8", 5'9", something like that. But that was a big thing for me, was just how he managed to find space in there, because you know what it's like. It's claustrophobic, isn't it?
Yeah, but you did right, Mark. Great in the air, but strong as well, wasn't he? He wouldn't be knocked off the ball easy. He was a strong. You know, he was. He drew inner strength for someone who wasn't so tall.
It was an English player, pal. That's what he was. You kind of think, you know, sometimes when these boys come across and it's like, oh, jumping over tackles and I'm not sort of going in there. It never fazed him. He went in there all the time. And you're right, you know, even last season he didn't play in all the games, but when he did play, he would nick you a goal. Absolutely priceless.
Yeah,
Mark, I just want to say it's going to be a very emotional day, isn't it? That first game of the season at Bournemouth. You know, I'm sure hopefully all his family will be there, his wife and his kids and whatever, to see the reaction. What sort of reaction will it be, Mark, on that first game at Bournemouth?
Oh, listen, the roof will come off.
Yeah.
It will. It'll absolutely, totally come off. And I tell you what, it'll be a difficult game to play in, for the players, for the Liverpool players, really seriously will, because, even if the manager says, right, let's do it for Diego and all those kind of things. It's a strange thing that. I've been in a couple of times in that kind of position, and it doesn't really feel as if it's happening. But I just heard as well before, when I was waiting to come on, and somebody said about retiring the jersey.
Yeah,
I think that's a fantastic thing to honour somebody like him. Never ever been done before at Anfield. I'm sure they'll definitely do something like that, which will be very, very fitting.
Yeah, Mark, brilliant, thank you. Not an easy time for anyone associated with Liverpool and football fans in general. Devastated, shocked, absolutely devastated. Mark, great to talk again, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Liverpool legend Mark Lawrenson there. And as I said earlier, Kenny, what must Kenny Dalglish be thinking? He's had heartbreak after heartbreak.
We've seen all these.
Oh, terrible! It's just it's hard to take in, to be honest.
Yeah.
So Mark Lawrenson there. Now, so many of you fans have phoned talkSPORT, pay tribute to a man so beloved in the game. Can we got time to take a quick call from Gary? Sorry? Oh, we'll hear from Gary. Let's hear from Gary, Liverpool fan.
Gary's a Liverpool fan, one of many Liverpool fans who want to join Stuart, myself and Martin and join us all on talkSPORT today at this sad time. Gary, good morning to you. How are you?
Jim, good morning.
How are you finding it this morning?
Jim, man, just heartbroken, Jim. And a massive Liverpool fan, pal, and even just hearing the Wolves fans there before and being on social media and the football community, really, just even my mates that I'm on WhatsApps with, Arsenal fans, United fans, we'd have banter throughout the whole season. I listened to your show every morning, and Liverpool were doing well, and it's just heartbreaking, Jim. I'm shaking. Amanda's just got married last week, and his whole life ahead of him, and you just think how life is just so precious. I'm getting married myself, mate, in September, and you think you have your whole life ahead of you. It's super scary, mate. He was an absolute stalwart for Liverpool. Absolute legend with so many goals. Amanda came in from Wolves, to come in and try and break a formidable tree of Firmino, Salah, and Mane, and he done such a great job and was pivotal to when Liverpool nearly won the quadruple, scoring great goals, mate. And he's going to be a huge loss. But look, that's football aside, and his wife, mate, his 3 kids, and his parents that also lost his brother. It's scary, Jim. It's scary. He was a great guy, man. And I'm just listening today to all the football fans around the world, and it's unthinkable, Jim. To be honest with you, pal, it's scary. It's devastating.
2 great pictures in the papers. The front page of Sun, football has lost a champion, great picture, and the back page of the Mail, Diogo Jota, right at the tunnel, number 20 on. He's looking out in the pitch. Absolute gem. Back in the tick, 9:15.
plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
.9 talkSPORT breakfast with the Arnold Clark app. Buy a car, then join Arnold Clark Rewards to enjoy access to great giveaways and everyday perks. Ray, golfing mad Parlour alongside me. You played well again yesterday, didn't you?
I played all right yesterday, to be fair, Al. I played better than what I have been playing, but it's such a frustrating game, isn't it? I don't get frustrated when I play badly. Just get on with it. It's another game next week.
I'm looking forward to the Open coming up.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're different. They're different levels. Those guys. I mean,
Lee Westwood qualifying.
Oh,
Poults missed out.
I was watching Poults and his boy as well. His boy, both of them missed out, which is a shame. But yeah, it's always a great spectacle. I was lucky to walk around with Poults once at the Livham. Paul Edwards, who's a big listener to the show, he was up there, and I ended up walking around in the practice area, and I said, Poults, let me have one shot. But unbelievable, he threw the ball into the rough from say 5 yards, couldn't find it. Can you imagine the ball going in with a bit of pace?
Yeah, no chance.
No chance whatsoever. That's the difference.
From the Open back to Wimbledon. Britain's great hope Jack Draper exited Wimbledon yesterday at the second round stage after losing to experienced Croat Marin Cilic by 3-1. He did win the third set 6-1, but Cilic just too strong. Draper conceded afterwards there's still major holes in his grass court game. Very honest he was, and was asked whether that will improve in years to come.
No, I can, yeah, I can for sure. I think there's a bit of a misconception, like, just because I'm a 6'4" lefty, like, I must be incredible on grass. I obviously won Stuttgart, but, I haven't had loads of experience on it. I don't think I've played incredibly well on it before. Obviously never gone past the second round here. Some players find it harder than others. I'm obviously very determined to change that and make it a surface that is gonna be great for me. I feel like that's the way with every surface. When you have the mindset of, even though I don't feel comfortable, I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna make it better for me. It usually works. That's what I did on the clay this year. It's just hard, to find that time, because we don't have a lot of time to play on grass throughout the year. So,
Jack Draper, then I'll say it again, I thought Cilic was fantastic.
Yeah,
Right, so how will Draper bounce back from this? Let's ask now the runner-up at the All England Club back in 2022, Nick Kyrgios. Nick, a very good day. Good morning, Nick.
Morning, Nick.
Hiya, Nick.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
can hear you now, Nick. Yeah,
yep.
Lovely.
Good morning, guys. Good to see you.
Nick, I was just saying, I didn't think Draper was that bad. I thought Cilic was superb.
Yeah, I mean, look, we all forget that Marin Cilic was, he's a Grand Slam champion, and he was one of those guys who had that breakthrough while four of the greatest of all time were still playing. So Cilic is very experienced, plays his best tennis at the Grand Slams, and he's got one of the best serves in the world. But what I really love about that press conference is the accountability from Draper.
Yeah.
Understanding that there's not much time on grass, and he, as Australian tennis players, we grow up on grass. We play on it very early on in our careers, where Draper obviously hasn't had that much time. But look, he seems determined to get back to the drawing board, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, just for a moment in the third set when he wins 6-1, I thought, come on, this is it. If he can get to 2-2, he can knock him out. But Cilic responded. Just great experience. And talk about power as well, Nick. He had some great power, hitting the back line all the time. Bang.
Yeah, I mean, look, I played Cilic multiple times throughout my career, and sometimes he just goes through those phases where he serves amazing, he hits big off both sides, he hits the ball incredibly flat, and he's always been pretty handy on the grass. He's beaten me at Queens, he beat Djokovic at Queens, so Cilic is definitely a dark horse and someone you don't really want to see early on in a Grand Slam, that's for sure.
Nick, just explain the situation, the delay for the Ben Shelton game. Everybody, who didn't see it, just explain what happened and why was Ben so angry?
Yeah, well, I guess it's kind of that it's a lighting issue. Outside, it gets quite dark early on. So and obviously if the opponent's down, he's going to try and find any sort of reason to hang around the tournament, maybe break the momentum. Look, I like it from, Rinky's a fellow Australian, so the Aussies were probably definitely telling him in his box, like, let's just try and get back to the locker room and let's try and prolong exactly, just try and do anything to break the momentum. But you can understand Shelton's anger for sure.
Nick, a guy who showed a lot of character last game was Cam Norrie. As the remaining British male plays Bellucci today, 2-10. Bellucci's a tricky customer, isn't he? So this will not be easy.
Yeah, look, Cam Norrie is so underrated, especially at Grand Slams. He's a former semi-finalist here. He's someone that I grew up with. We played juniors together since we were 12 years old, so I know Cam very, very well. He's an extreme professional and he's a tough customer on the grass. So he's obviously, Britain's last hope to do some damage here. But I would say he's heavy favourite going into this third round. Cam's doesn't play like a normal left-handed tennis player. He's got an extremely flat backhand. So I would say he's the favourite going into that third round.
Well, I hope so. And Emma in the ladies, Emma Raducanu, it's going to be tough for her, isn't it?
It's going to be tough, but that last win against Vondrousova was huge. That's someone that's won Wimbledon before, and she went about it pretty handily, 6-3, 6-3. It doesn't get any easier though. You'd assume that your draw would start opening up. She's probably playing the best player in the world, and it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to watch it. The whole crowd's going to be behind her, but she's won a Grand Slam, but this is arguably the biggest match of her career. If she can somehow pull this out, she'll be remembered for a long, long time.
Nick, did you manage to see Andy Murray giving out shortbreads yesterday? Do you know what a shortbread is?
Yeah, I do know what shortbread is.
Oh, good man. Do you like them?
I do like it. I got a bit of a sweet tooth. I actually had Jamie Murray on my podcast the other day, so that was good to get some insights of what Andy's been up to. He's playing a lot of golf recently. Apparently, he's just put all of his energy into golf. But no, I wasn't saying that. I wish I was there.
And also, Nick, I believe you're a bit short in your pocket for cash after having to buy McCoy so many beers down at Wimbledon because he's got zips on his pocket.
He's got short arms.
Yeah, I've been at the Dog and Fox. I didn't go to the Dog last night, but the last couple of nights, I'm not going to lie, I've had a few pints.
So you're enjoying it? It's good fun.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, the people are so nice around Wimbledon, and especially this time of year, the energy, the buzz. Every time I walk past a pub, there's people calling out for me to come in. So I do have rubber arms. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I do.
So radar.
Nick, enjoy today, mate. We'll talk again. Thank you, and have a great weekend as well.
Sounds
talk
good, guys.
next week.
You too.
Well done, Nick. There you go. Don't forget, you hear Nick Kyrgios, a very, very good guy. I like talking to him. I've got a beer with him. Thoughts on every day's play on these podcasts. It's called Wimbledon Unfiltered, which you can also catch on the talkSPORT YouTube channel, right? So that's Wimbledon Unfiltered. Coming up, we asked Ray if he's got his bucket hat ready for the big reunion.
Cricket balls are red, baseballs are white, American footballs are brown, and tennis balls are yellow. We don't even think about it really, but the story behind the tennis ball is actually quite interesting and even involves Sir David Attenborough. I know, here's the tale. Tennis has its roots in 12th century France when people used to make balls from all sorts. Cork, wool, chalk, animal fur and even human hair. Uniformity was found centuries later when people started making balls out of something called vulcanized rubber, invented in the US. But the balls kept on breaking, so a British lawyer, who also loved tennis, suggested they put a flannel covering on the outside, and thus the tennis ball as we know it was born. One problem, it was either white or black. And when the controller of BBC Two, Sir David Attenborough, decided Wimbledon would be shown in colour on the BBC in 1967, no one could actually see the balls on telly. So the International Tennis Federation went away and created a new colour called Optic Yellow, which would show up without the need for a 4K LED display. Not that anyone had that in the 1960s, of course. Since then, all tennis balls have been covered in that material and have their trademark colour for that exact reason. Amateur tennis players and dogs worldwide are forever grateful. You could say the ITF aced it.
With Arnold Clark, get the UK's best used car deals guaranteed. So the wait is finally over as the reunion of the century starts tonight, and apparently the sales of bucket hats, tambourines and anoraks are through the roof. Ray, what advice do you have for those going tonight and how to pace your drinking at a gig?
Oh, just enjoy it. I mean, I thought I'd never... Did you ever think that you'll see him again?
No.
Oasis? I thought that was it. That was, you know, all you can do is listen back to their music, never see them live again. So I think everybody's so pleased that they have got back together. And I'm sure it's going to be an unbelievable night to remember.
Yeah, my pals are playing Lytham, aren't they? Simple Minds.
Simple Minds are up there Sunday. Paul Edwards just text me. Yeah,
morning Charlie, morning Jim.
Yeah, that's always it's a great venue. That is, by the way, Lytham, really top class. I went up there to see Jimmy play. Yeah, it's got a beautiful house.
You might be there, Moisey.
Yeah, it's a lovely place, you know. Lytham's beautiful. Yeah. Really nice.
Well,
place.
we had a nice time up there, didn't we?
Yeah, remember? We had a great time up there. So, but the Oasis punters will be absolutely so delighted and very excited to see, you know, perform again. And
well, we're excited for it, and we're giving you a chance to win a pair of Oasis tickets. And this is in Manchester on July 19. Yeah, you heard that right. Oasis Live 25 is sold out, but talkSPORT, we can get you in. That's not all. Alongside the tickets, we will put you up for a night in a lovely hotel. We'll put £5,000, $5,000 in your back pocket, completely tax-free. Listen up right now for everything you need to know on how to enter.
On iArcade, you have to be over 18 to enter in the UK, excluding Northern Ireland, for the chance to win a pair of tickets to the most electrifying rock and roll reunion of the century, a hotel stay and £5,000 spending money. Text the word Oasis to 83338 by Monday the 7th of July at 11 p.m. and you'll be entered into the draw to go supersonic this summer. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission or post your name and number to Oasis Prize Draw, PO Box 3190, Colchester CO2 2 8GP to arrive by 5 p.m. on the 10th of July. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. Good luck, yeah? Sorted.
Now it's time for a bit of Formula One. We're fast approaching one of the best weekends of the sporting calendar in the UK, the British Grand Prix from Silverstone. First practice gets underway today with qualifying tomorrow, and the race getting underway at 3 o'clock on Sunday. Ahead of all, things are looking rather rosy for McLaren, aren't they? They have a 210-point lead at the top of the Constructors' Championship, with Piastri and Norris first and second in the race for the driver's title, with Max Verstappen a further 46 points back. But McLaren CEO Zak Brown, he joined us live in the studio yesterday. He told us that the gap to Max is not enough to be comfortable with
amazing. That points gap to Max is not quite big enough, so we got to keep working.
Yeah, I really admire him. I know he can be reckless, but what a driver.
He didn't win 4 championships by accident.
No.
So, and I would even say, George is not far behind him, and Mercedes is strong, and Charles. So I still think there's 5 horses in this drivers' championship race. Yeah, I mean, it's the gap's growing. It's going in the right direction, but a lot of racing still to go.
And there you go, McLaren's Zak Brown there, right. I enjoyed talking to him as well. Let's build up to what should be an amazing weekend with a man who knows a thing or two about how to get top the podium at Silverstone. A very, very good morning to two-time winner there, David Coulthard. David, morning.
Morning, David.
Good morning from a beautiful Silverstone. The noise has just stopped from the free cars, so hopefully you can hear me.
David, we can hear you loud and clear now. One question I did put to Zach was, look, the McLaren are doing so well, got the fastest car. The weather could be funny this weekend, couldn't it? We're expecting showers, and I suddenly thought of Max. I even thought of Lewis. Does this open things up a little bit if the weather does come down heavy?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When you have sort of changeable British summer weather, then that can bring some cars that haven't been as competitive in full dry into play. And you're right, highlighting Max, Lewis as well. Lewis has been improving his performances at Ferrari after, I'd say, a fairly quiet start since he got that sprint victory in China. And of course, even if it doesn't rain, Silverstone, big open airfield. When I was riding my little bike over from the campsite this morning, I was into a headwind. Why do I always seem to cycle into a headwind?
A campsite? Surely you're in a 6-star hotel, David.
No, I go for the full camping experience. Okay, it's a luxury American motorhome, but when I first came here, when I was 14, I was in a tent, and that is, on a hot day, anyone who remembers going camping in a tent is not a place to be.
David, just sort of all the drivers, they go around tracks all around the world. But is this so special to a lot of the drivers going to the British Grand Prix? Something different, the crowd, everything about it is something different for the drivers. And is this one of their best races they can be involved in?
Yeah, no question. And not just because we're Brits, but this is the sort of Wimbledon of the tennis year. Of the big slams, that's the one they want to win. Silverstone's a festival. It's always been this sort of music festival. The drivers, as I say, a lot of them stay on site in their motorhomes or around the Northamptonshire countryside. So it is a special Grand Prix, one that you get this beautiful gold trophy that is, you have to give back, but it's been handed down through the greats over the last 75 years. So it is definitely the one they want to win.
David, Silverstone as a track, look, we know the McLaren's a special car. Will it suit McLaren, this track, Silverstone, or does it favour someone else?
No, it'll definitely be in the right window for McLaren. They've got a car that performs across all speeds. This is a high-speed circuit with a couple of notable slower sections. So, yeah, I expect this to be McLaren setting the pace. But in motor racing, like in many sports events, you always get the odd occasional upset. So if you get the wind in the right direction and suddenly a car comes alive and a driver's got confidence, then they could be challenged. But I think all eyes are on Lando and Oscar. They're sort of trading weekends of performance, aren't they? Last weekend in Austria, Lando definitely had the upper hand, but prior to that, Oscar's been pretty handy. So it's going to be interesting to watch that tension build. Now we're at the midway point of the season.
David, I'm sure you've got to keep everybody happy when you got teams and whatever. And Lando and Oscar, if one had to leave, who would you pick as your number one?
Well, that's a very good question. They're both number ones right now, but Oscar's definitely the one that's improved the most because last year Lando had, I think, about a tenth of a bet in qualifying over Oscar, and Oscar's come out of the blocks this year. If it was, an 11-race World Championship, Oscar's in the lead. He's won the championship, so you cannot deny the results as they sit. Lando is the more experienced guy. He's the better known. He's obviously, got his own grandstand here with several thousand people paying to put their bums on his seat. So, he would be the more marketable world champion for McLaren right now. But, this isn't show friends, this is show business. So Oscar's earned the right to be leading this championship.
Yeah, David, just I'll finish with very sad the passing of Eddie Jordan. Really, I knew when we last interviewed Eddie on talkSPORT that he was struggling a bit, but I didn't realise how bad. So I'm very, very sorry when that sad news came through.
Absolutely. I remember being on the show with Eddie, and he absolutely loved it. He was larger than life. He's, of course, left a huge hole in the whole motorsports community, and we're going to be doing a proper send-off EJ style on Monday in London.
Yeah.
And we're expecting, certainly there's several hundred people on the invite list, and it's not going to be a traditional remembrance event because he was not a traditional guy, as you know. So it all passed very quickly in the end, and yeah, he's, the old expression about breaking the mold is truly the case for EJ, because he was the only man I know that could shout abuse at Bernie Ecclestone or Toto Wolff or whoever, and they just smiled and took it. Anyone else would have had him removed.
David, have a great weekend. Thank you, and good luck Monday as well.
Thanks, David.
Thank you very much.
David Coulthard there live from Silverstone. Yeah.
Oh, we used to see him down at Cheltenham, and he's always fantastic.
I've got a great picture on my phone. There's about 20 pints of Guinness, and Eddie's looking at them going, wow, are we going to drink all these?
Yeah, no, he was a real good character. Always come up to you. He was very, very friendly, wasn't he? But Cheltenham, that's where I knew him from.
Yeah,
when we've had a few drinks with him.
And they two were great together, David and Eddie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really well.
Yeah.
Okay, coming up at 9:42 on talkSPORT. Don't go away. Plenty still to come.
plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Okay, now we have a massive weekend of sport for you here on talkSPORT. Beginning today, of course, here's what we have coming up. We have regular updates from Wimbledon today as the third round gets underway. Emma Raducanu, Soni Cartel and Cam Norrie all in action and flying the flag for Britain following Jack Draper's exit yesterday. Emma says she can't get enough of the feeling you get winning on that centre court.
You forget about everything, all the ups and downs, and mainly downs when you're out there and you win, and it's so fleeting, you know, it lasts a few minutes after the match and now, but quickly you need to kind of get back in gear for the next day and the next round.
Yeah, updates from SW19 Wimbledon begin from 11 a.m. this morning. Also at 11, live commentary of the second test gets back underway on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel. If you're overseas, as England look to chase down 510 runs against India on day 3 from Edgbaston. England assistant coach Jitan Patel says that as tough as it will be, there is still belief the test can be salvaged.
We'll just try and find another way to get over the line, and I think that's the beauty of the team that we have and the players that we have and the belief they have in how they want to go and play the game. There's still 3 days of cricket left. There's lots of cricket to go, and I think, you know, on this fast-scoring ground, I think you never know what can happen.
And 2 times Ashes winner, the Geordie Stevie Harmison agrees with them.
England will still feel now they can win it, but it's outrageous to even contemplate England winning from here. But what they'll do is they'll make sure that they're still giving themselves a chance, hopefully by 6:30 this time tomorrow night, and that means batting all day. And if they are 100 behind, they'll believe having India in the field for so long might do like what Steve was saying, you know, put 3 wickets on that 4th or 5th session, and then all of a sudden England will feel like they did at Headingley, we can chase anything. It's a long shot, but you're coming from a draw's point of view. England will still believe that if we are positive and we are still thinking we can try and win the game, then if we draw the game, well, so be it.
Harmy's looking well these days,
Yeah, he does, yeah. 8-1 shot now.
Are they really?
England. We had Cole and Simon said earlier. 9-4 to draw.
Don't forget, tomorrow the British and Irish Lions take to the field for the 4th time this tour and the 3rd time in Australia as they take on the New South Wales Waratahs in Sydney. Beautiful Sydney. 11 a.m. start for that one as we edge closer to the first test against the Aussies on the 19th. Legendary fly half Owen Farrell has been called up to the squad, and former England coach Eddie Jones a huge fan of that decision.
Well, I think if you just look at the facts about Alan, you know, he's played over 100 tests. I think he's the 2nd highest point scorer behind Wilkinson, which is not a bad rap. And he's won everything bar a World Cup. So he's a player that's played in winning teams. He's an outstanding competitor, and I think what he'll bring to the Lions is just that little bit more depth to their side. You know, they've got Finn Russell, who's probably going to start at 10, and then the young guy, Finn Smith from England's, you know, a really promising young player, and he's adapting well to the higher level of the game. But Owen will be a pretty handy 3rd-string player. You know, come on and kick goals at above 80%. He's got a huge competitive spirit.
Interesting. I thought Finn Russell was a cert to start. But will he fit in with
it's all that combinations? We spoke to Jim and he said there are so many games because all different people coming from different personnel, different nations. So there's just who fits in with who. That's why they have so many games. But I can't wait for that. The Lions tour is always very special, isn't it? It's always exciting.
Also on Saturday, the Lionesses get their women's Euro defence underway 8 p.m. Now, this is a tricky one, a tricky opener against France. Live on talkSPORT. Just before that, we're going to bring you the FIFA Club World Cup quarter-final. It's a good game, by the way. PSG and Bayern Munich at 5 p.m. And at the ungodly hour of 2 a.m, Chelsea fans will be staying up. Chelsea take on Brazilian side Palmeiras. Ray, are you gripped by the Club World Cup or not?
I'm being honest, I haven't seen loads of games, Al. I've seen an odd one here and there. But I wouldn't be getting up 2 a.m. Look, if your club's in it, you make sure you watch it. But it's a situation where will it take off? I don't know what the sort of attendances have been like. And
I just think
that's all you need at the end of it.
More games,
a really long season in the Premier League. And look, don't get me wrong, the prize money's very, very good. Buy a couple of more players for the clubs if they needed. So Joe Pedro's just gone to Chelsea now, £50 million. So if they win it, that's half paid for already with the prize money. So it's will it take off? I don't know. I mean, it's a situation where I don't really watch the friendly games for England. Do you?
No.
Too often. I love the tournament football. I mean, when you get to the Euros and the big ones, World Cup, can't wait for the World Cup next year. That should be a brilliant tournament.
I was going to say you're going, but we don't know, do we?
Probably not, no. But again, you get lots of work over here.
Should we do a broadcast from the Rose?
We should do a broadcast from the Rose. I think it's a good little venue to do it from, Al, especially the breakfast show. There was spoilers in there. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But the World Cup is the ultimate, though, isn't it? That's the one you really.
And the Americans put it on properly.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's the fans will have a great time there as well. It's a lot of travelling, though. That's only downside to it. There'll be a lot of travelling from different countries and whatever. But I think it'd be a brilliant World Cup, and this is where Tuchel has got to get his right formation. I don't take a lot out of the last couple of games when they lost, but because the players have had long, hard seasons. They don't really, but they do want to be there because you're representing your country. But you still had long, hard seasons. And there's nothing to play for really. It's more for the Senegal because they want to get themselves in the shop window and get a move to the Premier League. So that's what they was giving their all. So I don't take a look out of that. But this is where you get judged is the tournament football, and hopefully Tuchel can get the right formula, can get the right personnel, and go to the latter stages like Gareth has got with that England squad, because it is a very talented squad, and maybe try and win it.
Some of the games have been delayed due to the threat of lightning. I remember going down there. I used to had a spell I was there every year. And at tea time at night,
4 o'clock
over that Gulf of Mexico, wow, some of the electrical storms you had was unbelievable.
Once you come by Florida, when we used to go there, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, absolute downpour. I've never seen rain like it. And then by 5 o'clock, it's all dry again. Amazing how it all works. That's why it's so green out there, Al.
By the way, João Pedro is available to make his Chelsea debut tonight. Good signing, in your opinion, Ray?
Yeah, very good signing. I think he was brilliant at Brighton. Again, Brighton selling another player for 50 million plus. It's amazing. They'll be looking now at how can I replace him. Maybe bring in a player for 20 million, see how he does. But Brighton, as I said before, they know the model they've got. They are a selling club. But they get the best out of the players when they're playing for Brighton, and then they get the right money when they sell them.
Yeah,
so fair play to them.
And of course, Pedro Neto, of course, a compatriot of the late Liverpool forward Diego Jota. Maresca says it will be completely up to Neto whether or not he'll feature in tomorrow's game.
It's completely Pedro's decision. I had a chat this morning with Pedro. We support him. Any decision he will take is the correct one, and we are going to support him in any case. So it doesn't matter if we'll be in the pitch or not tomorrow. We see how he is feeling tomorrow, but in any case we're gonna support him.
Yeah, the world was absolutely rocked over the last 24 hours by the sudden death of Liverpool forward Jota in a car accident over in the Zamora region of Spain. Ray and I thank you for all your contributions to today's show and yesterday as well. It was tough yesterday. You being the fans, sharing your memories of watching them for Liverpool and of course the Wolves. Here's a collection of the calls made to breakfast since the dreadful news broke yesterday around 9:30.
He was one of the greatest players that I've seen play for Wolves. I remember when he first started playing for us, and I go to the match with my father-in-law, and I said to him on the first game when he played for us, I said, this kid can play at the top level.
It's the first goal of the Arne Slot era. Diogo Jota puts them in front.
He's the closest player I've seen to Robbie Fowler scoring him. It's just sickening.
He wears the 20 and we just won 20. So I don't know, me personally, I don't know if this is possible. I don't know, we don't retire shirts anymore, but I just feel like as a club, it should be taken into consideration.
Controlled by Jota, takes it wide, left-footed drive into the roof of the net. It's 1-0 Wolverhampton Wanderers. A smashing finish from Diego Jota, his 7th goal of the season.
One experience I had at the end of season, after the championship, I approached the table where Diego was, and for a player to stand up and shake a member of the public's hand as he did with me, that's just humbling.
People forget, and it's a great memory, of the FA Cup final against Chelsea.
Liverpool, winners of the 2022 FA Cup.
Diego stepped up, and if he would have missed, we lose that cup final.
My late friend who died last year, Irene, she was a big Liverpool fan, used to watch every game with her. I know she would have been the first one at the gates of heaven, waiting to greet Jota.
Yes, talkSPORT Breakfast listeners paying tribute to Diogo Jota over the last 24 hours. Thank you to everyone who shared memories on all our talkSPORT shows. This morning's talkSPORT's daily podcast, as you would expect, is dedicated to Jota. Tributes to the likes of Danny Murphy, Liverpool Mayor Steve Rotherham, former Wolves keeper Matt Murray, and of course you, the fans. Sam Maraface, Alec Crook, Troy Deeney coming up next. But let's finish with this. After a dreadful day yesterday, 9:30 it broke, and this morning, we have to finish this for Liverpool fans and football fans, remembering Diogo Jota this morning. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on Wednesday.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of a storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet